guys, Jigs and Bigs. We got another great show lined up for you, folks. I hope you are ready for this. We have, in this week's show, a handful of things going on. I did a little bit of fishy shit, but in the last week or so, some really crazy stuff has kind of come out of the woodwork. I mean, I'm talking about fishing industry stuff. We're going to be talking about corporate takeovers and acquisitions. We're going to be talking about some really, near deadly shit that went down up the shears recently involving vehicle and hard water, and it was kind of crazy, to be perfectly honest with you. We've got some inspiration for you anglers that are struggling to get out there and do a little bit of fishing in the winter season. Things are kind of slow, and I've been talking with a lot of folks via the DMs, and the depression is real, man. And we're gonna try to inspire you guys to see it through. You're gonna be all good. It's all great stuff. And of course, we have an awesome interview this week. I've got a longtime listener, Hunter Cummins, the one and only HB Tricky, joining us in the beef seat. We're going to do some talk and get to know what it's like fishing in Iowa. Yeah. There's more to Iowa than Slipknot. That's news to me. We'll see you guys in a bit. Do not go too far. More jigs and bigs goodness coming up. We're all sober. Come on. Here I am. I'm jumping all over my own freaking script and everything. Everything's a mess. And here, I'm trying to assure you guys that yes, this week everybody in the house is in fact sober. So we at least have that going for us. Fantastic. Hope you guys are doing well. A couple of wonderful specimens of jig head quality in the recording session live stream right now. We got the one and only Todd Sefton and Pat Martin in the house. The one and only Ginger Chode. It's good to have you here, buddy. Here we are. It is January. It is the first week of January, and it started out kind of mild during New Year's and everything, but then it's gotten quite a bit nipply out there. It's gotten more seasonal, and I am not happy about that. Joe, how are you feeling out there over in Central Mass?
Oh, you weren't kidding, man. It's cold, out of nowhere, frigid. The wind.
The wind has been the worst. I was going to fish.
Whipping. It's been whipping. And it is just that cold wind that just spears you. You know what I mean? It's been awful. But,
I have, this last weekend, I was going to fish. And the thing is, cold water, I don't like to fish alone. I don't like to fish alone. Bank fishing, whatever. That's fine.
Yeah.
But, whether it's my kayak or the boat, I'm I'd rather have somebody at least there should anything potentially go sideways.
Yeah.
And I'm I went out, I guess it must have been Thursday. I was running some errands. And I had gone out to... I just took a swing by just to see the old girl, had to go to the Oxbow ramp and see how everything was. And there was no ice up against the ramp. I was this is good news. And I was maybe Thursday, maybe Friday or Saturday, I'll send it. And then I looked at the what do you call it? At the forecast. And I'm I would 100% be down for it. Temps were in the mid 30s at the high, but the wind was 18 to 20 miles an hour, dude. Okay. And I'm and it's just nuts. Just not fun.
Yeah. Shit, what was that warm day that we had a few days? Fuck, what was that? Friday, maybe?
Well, New Year's Day was warm. Well, oh, no, Friday actually wasn't that bad. Friday's when it really started to dip.
Okay, so I took I actually did do a send this week from the bank.
Oh, you did? Nice.
Yeah, I forgot. Didn't catch a goddamn thing. Jeremiah wanted to test out his new GoPro, so I took him out, and I was going to I was looking for a couple river spots I know. My initial idea was all right, I'm gonna take him down to the Swift.
Yep.
And then, dude, I thought about it it was 47 degrees or something, so it was warm.
It was that day, yeah.
Yeah, and then it was New Year's Eve, I believe, and then
okay,
but it just came to mind. I'm oh my God, it's this warm. It's a holiday. There's going to be 1,000 people out on the Swift River. It is going to be shoulder to shoulder.
Was it packed?
I didn't go.
Oh, just you didn't go?
Of that. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I got you.
I went to try some other rivers, and the unfortunate part was, dude, they were so low. Like, all the rivers are so low. I was like, oh shit, like we can't really fish these.
It's funny you say that because New Year's Eve, that night we got like stupid rain. And
we did.
Now everything is like filling up like crazy. In fact, I was having a conversation with my dad about that. I was like, we were talking about the story that you're going to hear in the headlines and ice, safe ice and everything. And I was like, with all this rain, that's not a good thing. Like even though the low temps at night are dipping below freezing, it's not staying that cold long enough. And then, now it's starting to get a little bit better. But, we got some significant rain this week, too. That was another one. Yeah, that was kind of nuts. And it's just, it's crazy. When I interviewed Hunter on Friday was when we recorded this segment. You'll hear it later. He's talking about, he's got temps out his way in Iowa below 0. And I'm like, are you fucking serious? And immediately I was like, a Farmer's Almanac opened up, looking at my weather apps. I'm like, is this coming towards us or not? Is this going to dip or go over us or what's going to happen? Because I'm done. I don't want to fucking deal with it. You know what I mean? I got a trip coming up too. So you didn't catch a thing, but I think that just going out can sometimes at least like you feel better about yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude. It was nice just to throw the line out there, dude. And
for sure.
Like we end up going to a couple different spots. I ate shit on some rocks, which was kind of funny. I got on camera, so I'll.
You got it on camera?
Yeah, I'm gonna post that. So I was gonna post it a few days ago, but my reader, my SD card reader for my MacBook, shit the bed, so I couldn't get anything uploaded. But,
all right.
Yeah, so that just came in, so I'll probably do that tonight. But yeah, no, it was funny. But Jeremiah was pumped. He was out there awesome. Talking to his camera and everything and trying to.
It's got to be funny seeing it from that other perspective when he's just like, "Hey, what's up, guys? Jeremiah here." Just you know what I mean?
And that's exactly what it was like.
Awesome.
And it's funny because like like when you first start to make content, especially when you're around people, you're so fucking embarrassed. Like you're like,
dude,
you're like, oh, hey, this is Joe American Vet Fishing. I'm gonna go do some fishing.
Or you do the YouTuber spin where you're just like, okay, let's keep everybody out of my
exactly.
So I don't know that they're there. God, that's awesome.
Yeah, but man. So that was it. We went we did that and went home and ate a bunch of bullshit for New Year's Eve and. That was it.
How was your New Year's? You guys do anything crazy?
Dude, we didn't do shit. Yeah,
I'm so jealous.
So we had all the kids, so we didn't do anything. But we don't do a ton on New Year's Eve anyhow. Just like at this age, dude, it's like you're dodging a bunch of drunks that might just fucking smoke you and kill you on the road. You know what I mean? So it's like that's kind of one of those days where I kind of chill. Or if I have a few cocktails myself, every fucking small town cop is out there
looking to make their quota the first week.
Exactly.
Yep.
And I do. There's nothing worse than like some of these small. There's a few of them in my town I really like, but like in the area, there's some people with that. The syndrome. So I'm like,
Believe me.
I don't want.
I grew up in Belchertown. I know what you're talking about.
Oh yeah, so you get it, dude. Yeah. So, but how's your New Year's?
So my New Year's was busy as shit. I had 2 events to work on New Year's. Like going into it, like Monday was nice. We everybody was home and we just kind of hung out. And we've been trying to do more stuff with the house. As far as having like schedule like regular dinners and stuff because everybody's always all over the place.
Sure.
And we're trying to get things a little bit more organized there. My wife has this new Year's resolution. And she's trying to reel in her spending a little bit and stop from just like, getting some a quick hit of dopamine off of like, purchasing concert tickets or whatever it is that she's doing. So
that's a good resolution to have. I dig it.
It is. It really, really is. I'm really, really hoping for the best here. But she's like, oh, look, this thing arrives from Amazon. Ironically. And it is the brand new journal that she needs to the notebook that's going to get her life together.
Okay.
And I mean, which is awesome. And actually, you know what? I got to give her credit. Like, she's got a plan. And I think that's the biggest thing. People are like, I got to get my finances together. Mine are a fucking shit show. You know what I mean? I'm just one of those people. I'll earn it and I'm going to spend it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I get it.
I need to do, I do all right to be able to get by, like, whatever. But, so she's been joking, and she was the one that made the joke first. That's why I'm like, sure, I'm not, I'm all right with saying it. But she was like, yeah, she's like, this is the notebook that's going to get my life together. I was like, there you go. So we'll see what happens. We did go out and hit Costco to restock on a bunch of stuff, and dude, last night for dinner, I just want to lead with this because it was out of this world. So we're in like one of the grocery aisles, and it's Costco sells like a lot of the meats that are like sous vide cooked or something, and then prepackaged in the shrink wrap and everything.
Yeah.
There were some burnt ends that were in there, and they were like something like $12-$14 a pound or something. Nothing like insane, but certainly better than what you're going to pay if you go out for barbecue for that amount of burnt ends. And I'm looking at him, I'm like, what do you think? And she's like, I don't know. She's like, do you think they're good? And there was a dude standing next to us, and dude, big beard, flannel on and everything. And he's like, and he looks at me, and I could tell I was getting the, hey, brother, you know what I mean? Yeah. And he's like, dude, they are fantastic. He goes, follow the box instructions, but he goes, add like a couple ounces of water to the pan when you warm them up. They're unbelievable. He's like, they're going to need a little bit of help with seasoning, more than just sauce. But,
sure.
Go ahead. I was like, okay, screw it. So I was like, what do you think? And Holly's like, yeah, let's go for it. So we're going to do that for dinner. And then we go walking over, and like Costco mac and cheese. Have you ever seen the Costco mac and cheese in the big?
No, I mean, I don't think I've ever actually stepped foot into a Costco. Like out here, we go to BJ's, but it's all like the same shit.
Kind of the same idea,
I mean? Yeah.
So for our listeners out there, like Costco mac and cheese is like fine. It's like, you know what I mean? It's fine. It's nothing spectacular, but I'll tell you what, you put some pretty goddamn good burnt ends with some good barbecue sauce on them, and you got yourself a home run there, brother. I cannot recommend that enough. It was out of this world. I could have eaten the entire pan because I am a glutton and need to work on that. I do have a New Year's resolution this year.
Okay.
I'm not cutting out beer. But I am only drinking the beers that are like the ones that I'm like, yes, I'm excited to drink. You know what I mean? And there's two of them, and they're seasonal. One of them's a winter beer, one of them's a summer beer, and it just happens to work out like that. So the one winter beer that I'm allowing myself to enjoy, and I'm talking about, you guys need to understand about Bobby Roast Beef. Bobby Roast Beef doesn't know the definition of the word moderation. Because I work in a field where I get to drink at work.
Right.
You know what I mean? So when I say I'm cutting back when I'm drinking at work. So one of the beers is Wormtown. It's a local one. It's a Blizzard of 78. It's like
that's a good one.
Dude, that's
a good one.
It's so good.
Before you continue.
Go ahead.
Every job's a drinking job if you're not a bitch, Bobby.
If you do it right, you're right. But it's encouraged for me to drink. You know what I mean?
Okay. All right. Perfect.
It's great. So I'm like, so there's only one of my establishments I work at that has Blizzard of 78, which is actually really a good thing. I actually have a trip coming up, and I want to pick up some Blizzard for that trip because I think my counterpart I'll be camping with may really enjoy this. That's right. It's probably not going to work out. But anyway, the other beer is Mango Cart from Golden Road. Which is
haven't had that one.
It's like a wheat beer, but it's made with mangoes, and it's really good. It's crisp and it's real refreshing. It's a perfect summertime beer, and only a couple of the places where I generally work have Mango Cart around, so that's fine. So the switch when I'm at work, because me cut out drinking entirely while I'm on the clock. No, we're just going whiskey. That's the trade-off. Yeah. We're just going whiskey. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start chronicling what my journey was for whiskeys, and that's going to be in the Speed Quizzing podcast. This week I had a little Wild Turkey 101. I had a little Woodford Reserve because,
love me some Woodford.
Woodford's great. And then I had some Bullet Rye on Thursday. I figured I'd go rye. And
I love a good rye.
Yeah,
I like a good rye.
I'm not super picky. Like I appreciate a really good, but I mean, I could drink. I might need a couple beforehand, but I could drink like a Jim Beam neat and just like deal with it.
Yeah, I struggle with drinking them neat. I got to have a little bit of ice in there.
No shame at all. Yeah, in fact, with trivia, I usually get it neat with a water back. Or something like that, because that way it's like I'll like, I'll take a sip or two, and then I'm like, I want to keep my voice as hydrated as possible, so that's kind of a good thing. But it's kind of fun. We got John Hagens joining us. John, how we doing? So my New Year's Eve, I did two events. I did my regular trivia event that was at East Village Tavern, where they've got that, and it was Gabby from Wormtown. She does promotions for Wormtown. She was there when I got there, and they had just launched Blizzard, and I was like, this works out perfectly. I didn't realize I was going to be here. So I did trivia there. It was a blast. We had a great time. It was an hour earlier than normal because they were closing at 10 p.m. Basically, I think they were trying to funnel people over to like Nathan Bill's for like the New Year's Eve stuff. So then I had another party, and I did a party for this this venue last New Year's, and it was at Agawam Bowl, which is a candlepin bowling alley. And they're under new ownership. This is, I think, their second year being there. Great couple. They're awesome. Asia and Eric are fantastic. And we had a great time. It was a blast. Played, I did trivia there. Primarily, I was DJing, and I was just having one of those nights where, like, someone would make a request, and I was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to follow with this, and I'm going to do this. I had this small group of people dancing until, like, I think we called it at, like, 1:15.
That's awesome.
Like, we're like, all right, because it was a small party. It wasn't huge, but we had such a great time. Yeah. So we're there, and like I said, I had a couple of beers at work. Gabby had bought me a couple. I'm like, well, I'm not letting these go to waste. So I had a couple of beers already. So I'm like, and later on in the night, I'm like, I'm not going to drink because I have to drive all the way back with my gear. I don't want to get any bullshit or anything like that. If I'm going to get pulled over, it's going to be a waste of their time because I'm going to be sober. You know what I mean? And I'm like, all right, so we'll go ahead. We'll do all that. We do the party. And as I'm on my way out, Eric goes, hey, man. He goes, you want to have a drink before you take off? I was like, man, I can't. I'm exhausted. I got to get to bed. He's like, here, let me give you something to help you sleep a little bit better. And he hands me this little thin can, like a seltzer, right, from this company called Delta Cannabis Water. And I was like, all right, sweet, man. I'll fucking give this a shot. Sounds good. So I go and I get home, and there's some leftovers in the fridge for me. I haven't eaten all night. And I'm like, I'm going to drink this thing. I'm going to have some dinner, and then I'm going to hang out. I pounded this seltzer water, right? It was delicious. It was a blood orange. Okay. It was a 20 milligram THC content and a 10 milligram CBD. Now, let me explain what the relationship is between the two. There's this myth that, or it's not really a myth, it is scientifically proven, that CBD will help kind of like counteract the like wild THC. Like if you overdo it with the THC, the CBD, it will, but it has to be like a significant amount of it in order to do it. When you have twice the amount of THC to the amount of CBD that you have,
buckle up, brother. It's about to get crazy.
I was out cold, like out cold. I ate dinner, took care of the dogs, did all that stuff. My youngest she crashed on the couch. She watched the ball drop and was like, sure. So she had the dogs with her. I came in. I can't believe they didn't even wake her up. When the lock hit the door, the dogs were just so loud. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning at this point. It was like 2:30 in the morning. I'm like, you guys shut the fuck up. So I go and, I take them out and everything. I go upstairs. I fall asleep, and I was out at like 8:30 in the morning. I do one of these. Just wide awake. Like, I was like, holy shit.
Just time traveled.
It was basically, I felt like I woke up on a desert island. Like I was like, I don't know how I got here, but I did. And I lived through it. So
did you at least get into your bed?
Oh yeah. I got way into bed. I was like crawled into bed, and I was just like, because we have one of those I don't want to say like memory foam, but it is like a foam style. So when it's cold, it's like a brick. You know,
okay.
But you once your body heat gets into it, you just sink in. And I just felt like I was never stopping. I was just like, bye. Like that was it. Todd's laughing because he knows
I'm bringing a 4-pack with me, brother.
So we are, I get up that day and it was all good. I had some stuff that I wanted to take care of. My daughter had, for Christmas, Chloe had gotten me a gift card for Dick's and the retail establishment.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Exactly. Right. So I go and I decide, you know what, I got to stock up on a few items. So I'm looking around through their inventory. And of course, they don't have anything remotely what I'm looking for. I was like, it is what it is. But I'm like, I want to use this up anyway. I did some other shopping this week as well. I put in a sizable order at Dark Horse Tackle, which I just got the shipping notification for, and I'm stoked to get all that gear. Mm-hmm. What is involved in that are a couple of baby umbrella rigs, because winter fishing, and I'm planning on hitting it. And then I put in an order over at Omnia for some micro jigs, for some BFS stuff that I really am looking forward to as well. So all of this stuff's kind of coming full circle. Who else did I order from? Did I put in a Picasso order too? I forget. It was a little bit cloudy, you know. So it was pretty good. You know, New Year's Day was pretty chill. I worked that night. You know, I had. So this is what I got going on. I have a question for you, Joe, as a boat owner, as somebody with way more boat experience than I have.
Sure.
So you know how like on your boat cover, I'm sure yours has these as well, but little like a stand up like a podium or a leg that will keep a high level. Yeah. Well, like as soon as you move the boat, those things kick out automatically. Like they're just like they lay down constantly. My console and my seats do a great job of keeping it level right across the top.
Okay. It's
really the worst part is right at the front casting deck and like right before, like the space in between the seats and the rear casting deck. I get pooling right over there. Well, now I have ice. And initially what I had been doing was when it was water, I just hitch up the truck, pull down the driveway, let it drain. It would all come forward and come right off. Yeah, and then I put it back and it'd be all right. Now I got ice. Now I have like a good amount of ice. I'm wondering, like, is
your cover from Lund?
It is. Yeah, it is. I'm wondering.
That's some bullshit.
Yeah, I'm like, and you know, I know exactly what it was. The last time I brought it back from the last time I had taken it out, I had put the legs in place, and I'm sure, like as I was driving, they just had fallen down again and whatever. And I was like, okay, we got a bunch of this warm weather coming. I don't really need to worry about it, you know. And I was like, with all that rain on New Year's, that's really what it was. That's what did it. So now I've got ice, and I have a trip coming up. And not next weekend, but the weekend after, and I'm looking forward to it. I should probably take that cover off and remove that ice. Right.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Couple reasons. The traveling weight, you know, on the cover could just rip that fucking thing.
And I just don't want to go and flying back, you know.
And that was the other thing.
That's the big one.
Next thing you know, the ice is going through someone's windshield. Man, that sucks that cover that comes from Lund
and it's black. That. Like I was thinking about pulling it, like, because it doesn't get much tree cover where it is. Like it's all the leaves are gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was thinking if I just leave it in the sun for a day, you know, and I can get it to thaw, then I'll just take it for a ride and it'll all.
Is it a ratchet cover?
No, it's not. It's got those Lund sport, like the Sport Track snaps. They're not metal snaps like, you know, for like traditional. Yeah. The only snaps it actually has go right across the very front at the bow.
I gotcha. Okay.
But yeah, there's one little kickstand leg that would go on the front casting deck, and then there's another one that goes somewhere in like the middle floor area in between the two seats. But like it just doesn't, you know, they just don't stay upright.
That sucks because I have those and they sit pretty well on my boat.
Maybe I'm not setting them up right.
Yeah. And the reason why I asked for the, you know, like the ratchets is usually when you have a ratchet cover, you can obviously tighten it down
with the tension,
significantly, and to ensure that the water just runs off and whatnot, so you don't have any slack.
Yeah, this sucks. Pretty like it's definitely sized to fit this specific boat, and I think that had I had these in place properly, it probably would be no problem whatsoever. But yeah, I gotta get rid of that ice. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go up on the steps and take all the snaps off of that one side and off the front, and then just see if I can get that smaller of the two pieces off, and then I'll loosen up the rest of the snaps and go around. Because what I want to avoid is cracking it too small to where I'm in there with like a shovel trying to get all these little pieces of ice. I'd like to try to do it in 1 or 2 pieces.
Yeah.
You know, or
how
4.
thick of ice are we talking? Are we talking just like a sheet, or is it like substantial, like kind of thick ice?
I'll bet you in the thickest part, it's probably like an inch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll bet you I'll bet you it's about an inch in the thickest part. Because what is nice is the way the cover sits. There's this lip that hangs over the back, and right where the outboard is connected on the transom, you know, you've got that little well there, and there's holes for drainage. So like when there's water there, I'll just go and like unsnap a few, and then lift up on the side and let that water just drain right out of there, and then I can actually even feed the pooling that happens at the front casting deck the same way, just a little bit further up. But like instead of putting all the water there at once, I like to do a little bit first and then fill the other, move it in sections and then get it right. I just don't want to stretch the cover out or break the snaps. That's the worst part.
I was just going to say the other one is stretching it out as well. Because then you'll just be dealing with this every fucking winter. Yeah.
I was thinking about inflatables. Like putting like some inflatables inside the hull, like on the floor, just to like lift it up, almost like you would when you have a pool.
That's a fantastic idea, actually.
You know,
yeah. Just I mean, my suggestion would be just get that ice off as soon as you can.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's going to be happening soon. But I mean, that's about like what I really kind of did for fishy shit. I took Saturday, had a great day hanging out with the wife. We had an awesome day. I've got work tonight, and then like I said, I've got a trip coming up. I'm going to South Jersey. Yep.
When's that?
That's the weekend of the 18th.
Of January.
Yep, of January.
Nice. Yep.
So take the boat out. There's a spot that I had fished there last time that was just like Pickerel Planet. And there's the same spot where I caught my snakehead that time. I would love to go down that way too. Absolutely love to go down that way. Like we got Pat Martin says, speaking of boats, are you guys going to the Thayer Marine event in February? I haven't even heard of this.
I actually got an email from them.
Yep.
If I remember correctly, I'm already booked up for something.
Yeah, is it? I wonder what the dates are. If it could be Columbus.
Yeah, I got the email and I was like, it's like I can't make it.
Yeah.
I think it was Columbus actually.
It might be if it's that early.
Go. Yeah. Yeah, Pat, do you have the dates on that? I don't.
It's February 8th. Yeah, that's the one.
Yep.
It's Columbus.
So I'll be in Ohio.
Yeah, and I have an event booked that night locally, so I'm not going to be around for that. But
yeah, it's definitely an event I would have liked to go see.
Oh yeah,
because I want to check out. Oh, Matt's got a booth. I see. I didn't even realize that they were doing booths and shit there. I thought it was just
no shit.
Yeah,
huh. I wonder if he's just starting something up, or because I never heard of any of this beforehand. But I'm a little bit out of the loop when it comes to the boat world because it's my first year.
Oh, yeah. You know, I never would have known if I didn't get my boat from there.
Yeah, that's true. Freaking bananas.
Yeah.
So, we have like for headlines.
Oh, I'm pumped.
You think we should do headlines first and then talk about our hot topic?
Yeah, I think so.
I think that
get the headline out of the way, and then like it's kind of a headline, but it's much more of a hot topic.
Oh, it's way more of a hot. It's a big. This is gonna If you guys are any jig heads are in the chat right now, our hot topic this week, you're gonna want to get your popcorn, maybe refill your drink before we get to it because it's gonna be something. All right, let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and get right into headlines.
Well, Bobby. It happens every year. We get a ding-dong that does this. This person, I don't know what the F they were thinking because it was not that time. But for those of you who know New England, Massachusetts, and you ice fish, you are very familiar with Pontusic Lake in Pittsfield. Pontusic Lake is probably like the prime ice fishing spot here in Massachusetts because of the different species they have. I mean, they have your pike, they have your crappie bass. They're said to have muskie that have been stocked in there over the last few years.
Yeah.
Someone got a little prematurely excited, Bobby, because truck falls through the ice of Pontusic Lake in Pittsfield. And this happened. Yeah, exactly. And this was, so this story came out the 29th. It was a Saturday prior to that. So I think that was like the 27th of December. So this is probably about a week and a half ago. But the Pittsfield Fire Department arrived at Pontusic Lake Saturday afternoon after being sent to reports of a motor vehicle falling through the ice. Deputy Chief Daniel Garner said that around 4:17 p.m., firefighters were sent to a call regarding the incident at the area of 239 Narragansett Avenue. The report at the time did not indicate whether there was anyone that needed rescue. 4 civilians were found at the shore who had evacuated and had no injuries. They said they were ice fishing about 40 to 60 feet off the shoreline in the rear of 261 Narragansett on the Pittsfield and Lanesboro line. One of the civilians had brought their pickup truck, a 2023 Chevy Silverado, Chevy Silverado 2500.
Yep.
Brand new truck.
Nice
Brand
truck.
new 2500, probably $60,000 to $80,000 truck.
Yep.
Which had been left offshore and would end up falling through the ice. EMS Automotive and Towing Company based in Pittsfield was called to recover the truck from the ice. Recovery efforts began around 5 p.m. Saturday night. Company owner Evan Scubell said that due to conditions on the ice, efforts were paused until 7:30 a.m. Sunday morning, and the truck was safely returned to land by approximately 11 a.m. that Sunday. The Environmental Police and Environmental Protection Agency were notified as a result of the incident. The Pittsfield Fire Department recommends that civilians stay off the ice on foot or in a vehicle on all bodies of water, as freezing temperatures in the area have not been sustained long enough to maintain thick ice. What a dipshit.
What a dumbass. And like an expensive lesson to learn, because I didn't realize this, but I had done a little bit of perusing through some of the local news Facebook posts, the one that actually had dropped that story. And I didn't realize this, but the EPA alone is finding like somewhere in a ballpark of like $30,000.
Oh my goodness.
For that shit. So you have the loss of the truck, because it's not like, and I should say, as luck would happen to work out, one of my trivia teams regularly works in the field of insurance, and her team name, she calls herself That Insurance Chick. So I sent her a DM, and I was like, I got a question for you. She goes, I was like, would an insurance company cover this? And she was like, it's really hard to read. It would depend on the level of coverage and the company themselves, and what they would consider a loophole being, because there's the fact that it wasn't a road. Right. You weren't driving it on a road. You know what I mean? There were the fact that you drove it out there. It's not like somebody it slid down accidentally or something. You know what I mean? But she was like, I think it could be covered, but you would have to have like the highest tier, like I am a moron and am not responsible for my actions level insurance in order for it to be covered. So she said likely it probably is not covered if it's a typical insurance plan, so there's that. So you still got to pay off that 2023 truck.
Crazy, dude.
Yeah.
And we all know that, insurance coverages is a hot topic in our society right now.
For sure.
The lack thereof. But if there was any time that insurance company was going to be like, we're not covering this, like
that one,
it was so negligent.
Yep.
Then yeah, it's going to be that. Like insurance, like I'm a big proponent of, we pay hundreds of dollars a month for insurance.
Insure everything,
and
sure.
80% of the time you have coverage for a vehicle, you never use it. So that's thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm a big proponent of, like, if I have an incident, you're going to fucking pay for it because I pay this much money to it. But anyhow, you're bringing your brand new $60,000 to $80,000 truck out on, and here's the caveat, people. It was the third week of December.
Yeah.
Maybe 4 or 5 inches of ice out there.
Yeah. It's not at that
that's
point.
ice I would never, I would be like, I don't even really want to walk on this. And this dude brought his truck.
A truck. And then you got to think about the risk he puts other people in, because whatever size hole that created, it's not going to freeze up. It's not ever going to be that strong in that one area. Like it'll never catch up.
And the caveat, they were fishing 50 to 60 feet offshore. You lazy piece of shit. You couldn't fucking walk that.
Oh, I didn't even catch that. They were that close.
They were that close to shore.
An idiot.
So you know what, dude? If that insurance doesn't get covered, it's not going to be, and even if they do cover it, it's going to be a fight. They're not going to be like, oh yeah, dude, we got you. We got you. Here's a check for your fucking 2023 truck that you probably still owe 60,000 plus on, unless it was paid off. Who knows? Probably not. But
it is just insane. Like John Hagen's post here, he goes, "Yeah, we've got goofballs here already asking if one of the fishing pages I follow, if there's safe ice on Buckeye Lake yet." It's like, geez, it's been cold for 5 minutes. Calm down. And I wonder, in those situations, if people are just trolling, like just like, hey, it's cold today. Is it fucking? Is it safe yet?
Yeah.
And he goes, these nuts are willing to risk it with 2 inches of ice. And that's the thing. I know some people up here that are just like, they love to ice fish. I have personal friends of mine that do not open water fish just because they prefer to ice fish, and I don't understand that.
I also know some people like that, and I don't get it. I don't get it at all. Like that could be a whole. We could have an entire episode just on that conversation.
Yeah.
But we actually should do that, Bobby, and get some people on here that are like diehard ice fishermen and just kind of like just unpack the bag. But
that's a good idea. Yeah. Oh, we should do it as a collab with Dave Urquhey and like break down like what. Okay, so like
who hurt you?
Like that kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just a big therapy session so we can figure out like how are you wired that way and other anglers aren't,
Yeah. That's true.
It's just crazy to me to think like you would, okay, so let's just assume, all right? I don't know what the age was of the driver here. So I don't want to, I'm going to assume with a 2023 truck, this probably isn't a young kid. This is probably somebody older than, you're 17 to like 25 years of age, something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. An expensive truck like that.
Like they're probably not in that unless, what if it wasn't their truck? What if it was like dad's?
I didn't even
think of that.
That if that was my kid,
dude, I would pay a $60,000.
I would beat him to the brink of death.
Holy shit! But so you figure, like, let's just assume this is somebody that's like we'll say like 35, 40 years old. Okay, they barely remember a time in Massachusetts where you were able to drive your trucks on the ice routinely. Like they would barely.
Back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like that shit better be a foot thick.
Oh, yeah. So, but that it used to be like that, and
and it's just not anymore.
It's just, things are just not the same. We just don't have those winters that often. There was one winter, I think it was like 2018. I think it was 2017 into 2018 where like I remember New Year's Eve, it being like 10 to 20 degrees below zero. It was so cold. Like that I get, and
Yep.
And there are some spots in the country where it just gets so freaking cold that's just like a way of life. You drive your truck out on the ice to get to, on these huge bodies of water, and you get to your shanty, and you're there for like 3 days or something. I get that, but like I just can't believe it. I got to see this because something caught my eye here. He goes, John Higgins goes, of course, Josh at Pig Patrol TV may be fueling the fire with his ice fishing videos he's already started posting. Yeah, and he puts, but the thing is I've seen Josh's ice fishing videos, and he'll say, like, this is sketchy. Don't do what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of, I think it's crazy. I really do. And we talked some ice fishing in this interview with Hunter. And because he's another one, like he loves ice fishing, absolutely loves it. And you know, he's got a live scope unit for fucking ice fishing and shit.
Fuck that,
dude. It's well, I will tell you, man. We get in this conversation. I just saw Alex Perrick put a couple of videos up over the last couple of weeks, ice fishing, a multi-species tournament in Canada, and they're out there doing their thing, and he's got a live scope, and I'll tell you what. For the content, it makes it so much more interesting to be able to see that. Like,
100%. Yeah. Content purposes, I totally get that.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But you know, Hunter's like, he's like, I find like sometimes I use it, sometimes I don't. And he's like, but it's like it's fucking cool. I'm like, yeah, it's definitely cool. I don't know, man. Like. I think this poor son of a bitch is going to get put through the ringer, not just financially by, you know, federal and state organizations and, you know, obviously having to continue to pay for the truck. And I don't even know. I mean, with it only being that far out, I wonder how deep it was where they were. And if like, because I saw a picture of it after the fact, like someone took a photo
at it right now.
And it was like, you could see they used a tow truck to pull it out.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like it was offshore, like 40 feet deep, you know, or something like that, where it was crazy. He might be able to repair it, you know?
I did see a picture of, there was a picture out there of the truck while it was still in the water. And it was it was fully submerged.
Oh, it was fully submerged. All right. Okay.
It was like it wasn't you could still see it.
Yeah.
But it was like the water was like let me see.
You get halfway up to the doors and you're fucked.
Here it is right here. So the water was at a little above the halfway point of the windows.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So it was about a foot from the roof. Yeah, so that thing was marinating in there, you know, until 11 o'clock the next day. So that thing's toast.
Oh yeah, he's probably I don't know if it's pay it off and get yourself a new one because what else are you gonna do?
Man, imagine that because you know it's probably $1,000 payment. This dude's gonna have to eat for the next 6 years if they don't pay that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. God, yeah, he's gonna have to fucking eat that.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's going to be brutal. But yeah, not only going through all that, but I think he's going to get put through the ringer in the fishing community as well. Like,
for sure.
I don't know who this guy is, but I'm gonna make a very well educated guess that everybody in his circle is forever going to be calling him some kind of a nickname like Crash, or like Sinker, or like, you know, something like that.
Fucking wild, dude.
That's fucking bananas. I didn't realize that Pontusic was that popular. I've never even fished Pontusic.
Yeah, but it's, dude, I've been there. I was like, like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's cool. A lot of smaller fish, but dude, for ice fishing, people love that place.
No shit. I might have to fuck around with that for the scavenger hunt series. It might be a good idea. It might be a good idea. Just another option to bounce around while I'm up there. But man, we got all kinds of jig heads in here. We got John Carter jumps in. Yep, he's like, great topic, guys. Jay Manning's in the house. I mean, this is awesome. We got some folks in here. So
hell yeah,
you know, that's insane to me,
dude. It's absolutely nuts.
Oh, well, what can you do? Stupid is as stupid does, I guess. That's just pretty much it. But now,
that's it.
I forget who sent this over to me this week, but I immediately grabbed a screenshot and sent it over to Joe.
Yes.
But do you have another story, or do you want to move on to the hot topic?
No, dude. Let's do it.
All right, let's do it.
Let's do it.
This is a good one. So I got this message that came out my way, and it was a screenshot of a. Hold on a second. I got to move this all over so I can read the story and stuff. So I took a look at this, And basically what it is it's a Facebook group. Hold on. Got stuff all over my desktop. It's a mess. All right, so it's a Facebook group from the or a Facebook post from a member of the Dobyn's Rods community group on Facebook. I'm just going to go ahead and read through the post, and we can talk about it because Joe has been telling me that like Facebook's been blowing up lately about this stuff.
Yeah, it has.
So again, like we had mentioned earlier this year, I think it was in the spring, Joe, right? About Dobyn's being purchased by GSM Outdoors.
It was one of our first headlines.
I think it was. I think it actually might have been the first week. Yep. And so there's a guy who posts on here. His name is Lance McWhorter, right? And he goes, GSM Outdoors can kick rocks. Crispin Powley and the corporate gang just shuttered the Dobyn's Rods headquarters here in East Texas and fired everyone on New Year's Eve. Gary Dobyns and a member of the crew there always treated us staffers, dealers, and community as a whole like as a whole like family, and this cannot be tolerated. Time to push back against these corporations now. I will no longer be associated with this company's new overlords as a pro staffer or as a dealer at ETX Paddle Sports. You can come and get whatever I have in stock at cost through the end of the week. After that, they'll be pulled from the shelves. Do not reward predators like these with your business, and do not trust any new Dobyn's rods that are not already in stock at your local dealers. The only reason that GSM would do this is to cheapen the production cost. That means lower quality of what was already an incredible product. Great products and customer service, warranty protection, etc. are obviously not in the interests of their shareholders. Edit to add, they also own Yamamoto and Bonehead. Didn't know about Bonehead. That's sad. So same drill on all of their in-stock products. So
they own a lot more than just Yamamoto and Bonehead.
They do. GSM has made some big moves to acquire a lot in the last year.
Should we update the audience as to who in the fishing community they actually own now? Because there's been some sneaky ones that.
Yeah, go ahead. The only one that I'm aware of off the top of my head right now is NetBait.
Oh, no. All right, let me get through the hunting ones because they are huge in the hunting community too. Mm-hmm. Let me see here. A couple of them are going to surprise you because one of them surprised me and I don't know when it happened.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, all right. So they own Bagley. They own Bill Lewis.
Yep.
They own Big Bite Baits.
Yep.
The Bonehead.
Mm-hmm.
Buka brand.
They own Buka?
Buckeye Lures.
Yep.
Cuda. Dobyn's. Frog Factory. Northland Fishing Tackle.
Oh.
Phoenix Rods.
Really?
This one surprised me. Robo Worm.
No, that was the one. It wasn't NetBait. It was Robo Worm. Yeah, okay. That's a new one. Yeah.
Steel Shad. Yamamoto. And Team Stopper Lures, which I don't even know them. So, yeah.
No shit.
There's been like some announcements of companies that they've grabbed. And I'm usually pretty good at following that, but there's been some ones where I'm like, wait, what? So
So here's the thing, and I've heard this on other podcasts. I've heard this on other sources of content from other content creators. Mm-hmm. You often find that it's so I wonder what's going to happen. You know what I mean? Right. I wonder what's going to happen here. And you want to kind of hope that like there is a positive side when a company is bought like this. When it's a really small company, what you often run into is supply and demand issues. There's something that people love and they're like, look, number one, I don't have the income to be able to hire other people to do what I'm doing. Like, bait makers or small companies will paint themselves in a corner where now they have to produce so much more than they're able to, with what they've got. And then you've got accessibility, because a lot of times the smaller companies, like they're, there's a million things going on. Think of like an octopus, like just trying to run business all the time. And things are crazy. So like the distribution might be a little bit lacking or something like that, and it's a challenge. Now, nice thing is about a small company like that, you can handle the customer service aspect of it really well. You know, you can go above and beyond. And a lot of people, that's what they want. You know, that's really what it is that they're looking for. So you have this situation where, okay, so maybe this brand of stuff that I like, I'll actually be able to find it in more places, you know, you know, or I'll be able to find it with like a wider variety of like colors or you know, different, you know, profiles, or things might change a little bit where I'll have more options potentially, or maybe they'll dump some money into it and continue to expand it and it'll be a good thing. But what's more likely to happen is that this company that's going to acquire this product, you know, or this brand is going to see that there's something of quality, there's an audience for it. So more often than not, they're going to scale back on that, like the stuff they can do away with, the staff, the customer service. You know, they'll put the product in all of these other places and they're just going to constantly be trying to sell things like that. So you might see something like, I know Dobyn's had like a really amazing warranty program. That's probably gone immediately, you know, because it doesn't cost them anything to get rid of, you know. Yeah. But they're like, if somebody had a rod where like Gary would like honor that warranty and they're like, oh yeah, this rod snapped or blah 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 blah, it might be easier to get bypast him. But with a larger brand, they might say, you know, fuck you, you know, like you get 90 days. You know, if that's all you have to do is keep this thing together for 90 days before we no longer have anything to do with it, or something along those lines. Right. So that would be one of the first things that I would assume would probably just disappear. The fact that they laid everybody off and just let everybody go and cleaned house was like extra shitty. What happens further down the line is that's when you're going to see your quality issues come up, because then they're like, there's nothing else that we can do to make this more profitable other than cutting corners in one way or another. So that might be limiting your colors. It might be limiting your size options for different plastics. It might be limiting certain things to only, you know, just a certain platform. And even worse is changing the formula to a cheaper alternative where, especially like when you're in the soft plastics world, you know, that Gary Yamamoto you've been fishing all forever, it might fall a little bit differently after they've owned that company for 4 or 5 years. Because it's basically a different worm.
Yeah, I mean, look what they did with the Yamamotos. They immediately rebranded the packaging.
Oh yeah,
which is like you know, totally. It's one thing to rebrand, like, because you know the Yamamoto baits have been the same forever, but they didn't like use the same colors. Like, you know what I mean? Like it was like you're like, wait, what are these bags? You're like, Yama. Like, wait, what?
And it's a hard thing to change the packaging and the logo and the branding of an item, and then say like,
yeah, but don't worry, what's inside isn't changing anything.
Yeah,
you can believe us.
Still the same. Yeah,
and that might be. But you just got to look at it. It's like, what's the shelf life on that statement? You know,
sure.
Something's going to change, and you know, I feel really bad for folks that are like, oh, I really love this product, man. I you know, when it changes, they're just devastated because they put all their weight in that one product. You know, and it does suck. You know, because
it does.
This is part of the reason why I don't put. Like, I don't put that much into that bait being there forever. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like right now it's great. Like everything is temporary. You know? Weird temporary.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we are temporary. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like I don't know that you know, it's just not worth it for me to be like, God, I fucking love Kitech. It's the only paddle tail I'm ever bullshit.
Sure.
You know? I like them. I like them because I can get them almost anywhere, you know?
Yeah. I wish I knew. My biggest part of this is like, you know, and we had a conversation like when we first announced this, we're like, ooh, man, like what's going to happen with Dobyn's? Like, you know, and that was just a year ago. So like, okay, so they kept it the same with the same people for a year and then just came in and dropped a grenade inside the, you know, with their staff and inside their warehouse. So it's like, okay, so you fire every single person, allegedly fire every single person that's in there. So does that mean all production that they were doing there stops? So where's that production go now?
Yeah, exactly.
So are they grabbing the blanks from overseas and now they're just assembling them overseas and then shipping them over? Like, is that the game plan here? Like you said, the warranty program, Dobyn's Rods had an exceptional warranty program. So I'd like to see what's going to happen with that. But at the same time, man, it's just like, this is just how the corporate world works. Like, none of us are going to say, if we owned a company and you have someone like GSM Outdoors gives you some 6, 7, 8 figure number.
Yeah.
Like, hey man, like we're going to give you this check right here. And all you got to do is walk away and we got it from here.
Yeah. Oh,
not too many people are going to say no. So the big thing here, people, is none of this blame goes towards Gary Dobyns because he did what 99.9% of the people would do.
This is you're right.
And I guarantee you, because it's how the corporate world works, I guarantee you they gave him empty promises of like, no, your people are going to be fine, blah, 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 blah. And then, they kind of come around the back end and.
Oh, yeah. Like, yeah. So here's the thing. Like, a lot of people say this there all the time. They're like, oh, make sure you get it in writing. And, you can ask to get it in writing all you want. And they're going to tell you that it's all in writing. But you know what they're going to do? They're going to write it in something that is about yay thick.
Oh, exactly.
And for anybody with a pair of human eyes to go through that and be able to verify everything that's in there, you don't have the time, the endurance, or the money to pay somebody or a staff to go through and then figure it out most of the time. So oftentimes they'll go through and they're like, Have you ever had somebody go through a contract for you? No?
I don't think so. Maybe
I've paid people before to go through like huge contracts, lawyers, and they're just like, this could be a little bit sticky. It's not like, you're good to go. You're always taking a risk. You're always taking a risk.
I know my wife deals with that constantly.
Yeah, like you got to be super careful, and it's like, at the same time, the reality of it is, I feel for all the business owners that do end up getting bought out. No, and I feel twice for them. First, because it's like,
good on you, man.
You fucking busted your ass, and you created something that had enough of a draw where a large, massive organization that essentially Skynet was like, hey, we want to go ahead and take your product and we want to buy you out so that we can offer it to other people and do such and such. And of course, they're going to paint it in the rosiest way possible. But at the same time, like, I feel for somebody like Gary, because you have this product and you've put your blood, sweat, and tears, and now, like, you got to let it go. Granted, you can dry your tears on all the fucking deep checks that you're getting for whatever the deal is that you made up, because he might not have gotten that in one lump sum. They might be paying him off like for life.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Which might not be the worst way to go around it, because then you're not blowing it, and on top of that, like, then it becomes a source of income. Then you're like, okay, what's my next thing? What am I going to do? So for the Dobyns line, this could be something else. What sucks is that he made that brand his name.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same thing with Yamamoto.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But like, if you could keep that, like, but that's what they want. That's what they want.
Yeah.
It is tricky, man. It does.
And that's a perfect way to put it. It's tricky because, and I guarantee you, Gary Dobyns is losing sleep over this. I guarantee you his phone has been exploding since this. Like, it is his fault, or being like, hey, like, what the fuck? Did you know this was going to happen?
People are stupid. They don't see the whole picture. They're just like, oh, you had to sell it. You sold out, man. It's like, of course I fucking sold out. It's business, man.
Yep.
Like,
they will, and GSM will see, they will be wounded a little bit from this.
Oh, yeah.
But it won't last. People are going to start buying the rods again, because guess what? They have all the marketing and promotion money in the world. So they're going to, come out and be like, ooh, this is cheaper, better. And people are going to buy it.
Yep.
And
they'll go for it.
All this stuff going on right now, people forget, and it'll be just fine.
You'll get those new folks that'll, like, A good example I like to use is like Fenwick. Fenwick did their whole like rebrand. And they were known previous to this rebrand as like that classic fishing rod that like your grandfather used, and all of the logos and everything, and even the lineup of rods that they offered was like a little more old school, you know?
Yeah, of course.
And now you've got, and this is no shade to Fenwick whatsoever. I think it's a great brand, but now they've reinvented themselves, and this is another one. Like I'm fully aware that Fenwick is owned under Pure Fishing. Well, another one of these big companies that owns a bunch of shit, but I'm just using that as an example because they did a rebrand. But now you're going to have people that are going to see that and think like, oh, wow, this is something that's new. There's something this. And actually, from what I've heard, that those new rods are fucking great.
Yeah.
And like even at the budget level, I've heard that they're fucking fantastic. But you're going to get that, like, remember I said everything's temporary?
Your fucking customers are temporary too.
They're going to die. They're going to be out of the market at some point.
Yep.
You're going to get new customers. So part of being successful in business is being self-aware enough to know that Jimmy, Bobby, and Harry, they've been buying your rods, but maybe they're in their 60s and they're not fishing so much and they're not going to buy the number of rods. So marketing to them isn't the fucking move. Or my favorite is when people get so fired up about brands, like they think their brands are their friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, are you that dumb? You can't be. Like, I understand. Like, don't make that investment. You know, don't let St. Croix break your heart. You know what I mean? Come on.
100%.
You have to think more like a fuckboy when it comes to using fishing tackle. You know what I'm saying?
Seriously, yeah.
It's the truth. Just like, hey, this is a product. I like it. It's great. I'll find something else if this isn't available.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
Put your effort on technique and not product.
Facts.
You know? Fucking. So I'm interested to know, like, from our listeners, what you guys have to think. If you're listening on Spotify, you can leave comments there. Go ahead and leave a comment there and let us know what you think. If you're listening to this episode on YouTube, same thing. In the comments, hit the comment section. Let us know what you think about that. Like, the negative sides are that, yeah, your product is going to change. Hopefully, it's not the worst, and hopefully you get a few more years out of it before things start to change. But at the end of the day, like, you know, the staff is going to be different. The policies are going to be different. The warranty is going to be different. What are your experiences and where have you been burned? What are some of the brands that's happened to you with previously that you've been let down? Or on the opposite end, what are some brands where you've been surprised by the way it played out? You know, and it wasn't so bad. Let us know in the comments. If you're listening on another platform or something, you want to reach out to us, feel free to get in touch on any social media, Jigs and Bigs on Facebook, on Instagram. You can even email us, jigsandbigs413@gmail.com. All that stuff's in the description of the podcast too. So get in touch, folks. Let us know what you think.
Hell yeah.
That was good. I saw that story break and I knew that we were going to have a great conversation. I didn't even realize it was like the first headline I think you dropped was about GSM acquiring Dobyn's. That's crazy. Nuts, man. Nuts.
Craziness.
What a way to do it too on New Year's Eve. Fucking monsters.
Hey, we're going to ring in 2025, everybody. Guess what? You're fired.
Douchebags.
Yep.
All right, let's go ahead. We'll take a real short break. We're going to come back around, guys. We got just a tip for you. This is going to hopefully inspire and get you through that cold, dark season that we're in. And then on the other end, after in our third segment, we've got Hunter Cummins, the one and only HB Tricky. We're going to be talking about his fishing adventures, exploits in Iowa, and how he's getting on them. We're going to talk live scope with ice fishing, and a whole bunch of other great stuff too. So we'll see you guys on the back end. Don't go too far. Jigs and Bigs wants to take a moment to say thank you to our partners for helping us continue to push the limits of our fishing adventures and bring you amazing long-form podcast content. We need to thank Dark Horse Tackle, Omnia Fishing, A-Bay Lure, The Bay House, and The Ship Motel. We can't forget about Three Bells Outfitters, Torres Sunglasses, and of course, Reaction Tackle. Be sure to check the description of this podcast for any associated affiliate links or promo codes they've generously provided our listening audience. Again, we cannot thank our partners enough for their support. Please consider supporting them and supporting the show in the same process. Thanks. Hey, you. Yeah, you. The one with the impeccable taste in fishing podcasts. Bobby Roast Beef here with a little call to action for all Jigs and Bigs listeners. We're opening up our hotline to you. Now you can call us to sound off about almost anything at 413-324-8519. Want to submit someone for our FTG segment? Call us at 413-324-8519. Care to maybe suggest a topic for Just the Tip or Bait of the Week? Call us at 413-324-8519. Maybe you just want to give us or anyone else a little shout out on the show, or you want to suggest a guest for the beef seat. You guessed it. Call us at 413-324-8519. The Jigs and Bigs hotline is there for you to leave a message with us 24/7. Just call 413-324-8519. Also, you can check that number in the notes of this podcast.
And perhaps play a little game called Just the Tip. Just for a second, just to see how it feels. Or, ouch, ouch, you're on my hair.
Okay.
Alrighty, guys. So this week's Just the Tip. I had this idea last week while I was editing last week's show. I was like, man, you know what? This Just the Tip. We were talking about jerk baits last week, and that's great. But sometimes I think the anglers that are coping with winter conditions, and this is for everyone around the country, because whether you're down south or you're, along the Canadian border, like water temperatures are colder now. Like your fishing has changed, and that might be a little bit different for you depending on where you are. But this time of year is a great time for us to just kind of get a little bit of inspiration as to what the hell we can do to keep fishy all year round. So I want to start this off with a phone call that came into the Jigs and Bigs HQ it was right around Christmas or so. So let's go ahead and give this a listen. This is from someone you're going to recognize.
Hey, this is Zach from Dark Horse Tackle. I'm on my way back from Chicago, back to good old Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I kind of got a little public service announcement here. So ever since I was little, anytime you go to a special body of water, or you get anywhere near a special body of water, the ocean, a big lake, whatever. You just go and you just want to touch the water, okay? Now, it's cold, so I'm not looking to get in the water. I just want to touch it. That's it. I want to touch it. So I took a walk out onto the beach there in Chicago, the beach there on Lake Michigan, and walk closer and closer to the water, and as I get there, I notice that there's about 10 foot of what looks to be like crusty snow between the sand and the water. So I walk up and I carefully step onto the crusty snow. First couple steps, my feet sink about 2-3 inches into the snow. To be expected, no big deal. I take another step and then went down about 5 inches. Now I'm thinking to myself, okay, we'll be a little careful here. I take one more step very carefully. And the crusty snow is now touching the bottom of my pee-pee. Boys and girls, be very careful. It's not always a good idea to go touch the water in December. Love ya.
And I think that that Zach took it a little bit to the extreme there, just wanting to touch the water.
Yeah, that's it.
This time of the year, it's a bit of a challenge, and I think that you want to avoid having that crusty snow touch your pee-pee if possible. Mm-hmm. I think that's really sort of probably number one on everybody's checklist when they're going out to any body of water. But thing is this: winter may keep you off of open water, or it might even just slow down your experience in going. Maybe the bite's going to slow down for sure. Things are going to change. The bite is for sure going to change, but maybe you're not getting out there as often as you were or something, but you want to still stay with it. So here are a couple of ways to keep your pee-pee out of the frigid cold water that I think would help. This is a great time of year, obviously, to like hone your craft. You can use this season, those slower weeks where you're just like, if you're like me and you fish multiple times a week, and you're now, when you're used to fishing like 16 to 20 times in a month, like it's nice to be able to do that. Maybe you're only going out once or twice, maybe 3 times in a month. Maybe you're lucky enough to go out 4 times in a month, something like that. But if in that in-between time, this is a great time to take up some type of a hobby regarding your tackle. Like it's a great time if you're really like throwing jigs, tie some jigs, or if you want to get into actually making your own jigs, like you experiment a little bit. You can pour some lead, you can make some plastics, you can get into bait making at whatever level that you want to. Maybe start small and use this as an opportunity, because when the spring hits, you're not going to want to be at home pouring a bunch of molten lead and plastic. You're going to be out on the water, going to want to be out on the water fishing as much as possible. So if that's your thing, go for it. This is also a great time to do all of your repairs. And we know this stuff. Obviously, cleaning your reels is a great, a great thing to do every single year. A lot of people use that as a ritual right there. Getting rid of that old line and then respooling your stuff. Take that opportunity to go and study your local topo maps or create a plan, a checklist. I listened to an episode of Tackle Talk. It was the New Year's one about New Year's resolutions and New Year's resolutions for anglers. And there was a list of 30 you could choose from. And some of those are really good. One of the ones specifically I think everybody should do is to travel out of state one time. And this is a great time to pick where you're going to go and set that trip up. Go out and fish a body of water. But this is the time where you want to sink your time into looking into a map, figuring that stuff out. Talk to some folks on social media, in some groups around that body of water for fishing. Or if you know people, even better, just have a conversation with them. Hey, so what's it like over here? Is there, where am I going to find the grass or such, whatever. Get some of that plan together, so that you can really go and send it. The other thing too is in the off season, preparation today is going to make your execution later that much greater. So if you put the time in now to come up with whether it be a fishing trip or just an overall strategy, and you apply that now as much as you can. I'll give you a perfect example. I just had a conversation recently with a friend of mine who bought his first baitcaster. This guy, Jeff, and I, we go way back, and he's going to hear this and be like, you bastard, you talking about me on the show? Absolutely, I am. So Jeff and I, we fished, I think, once or twice recently, in the last year. And he's really into kayak fishing. He fishes for a bunch of stuff. And I told him, he was like, yeah, he hit me with this question. He goes, I just got my first baitcaster. He's like, what should I put on it for line? And I was like, oh my God, immediately the thoughts are running through my head. I'm like, well, what are you doing? What's the rod? He didn't even know the rod he was necessarily going to put on there. And I was like, well, I ask these questions because it's going to vary. What are you using? Are you using this rod primarily for topwater? You know, that's going to be one thing. And if so, what type of topwater baits? Are you using this reel, you know, in a frogging situation? Are you using this reel in a spook situation or a jerk bait or something like that? Are you using this as a moving presentation? Or are you thinking of throwing, you know, jigs with it? And he goes, yeah, he's like, pretty much, he goes, probably not a lot of top water. He's like, more than likely it's going to be all subsurface stuff. And I was like, but like a general kind of all around do stuff with. So I gave him some suggestions, and I was like, you know, I go, you should definitely take this opportunity to go out in the backyard and practice casting, so that you're totally comfortable. So when that great day in March comes around and you're like, I'm going to go send it, you don't get a backlash and you're just like, fuck this. Like, you want to have that muscle memory built up. So like, if you have like a large backyard, go and make some bomb casts if you can. Yeah. Or even if you go to that body of water and just cast out onto the ice, if you have ice, you know, and just do that. Like, it's just like training for when you're actually going out there. And, you know, I have a trip coming up where I have no idea what the weather is going to be. It's too far off to be able to plan. I'm not canceling the trip. Like, I already have like campground booked, like campsites, like ready to go. It's happening. I'm going to be utilizing that opportunity to just enjoy the outdoors. We're going to send it, you know, but if I get to that body of water and there's like a gate at the launch and it's closed down, we're going to be looking for some other water. We'll figure it out. If it rains the whole time I'm out there, you know, I'm going to go and I'm going to use that opportunity to organize tackle or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'll be under an easy up, freezing my ass off. But like, it's about like making the best of that situation. You know, that's why like when we talk about our weeks, I'm like, what have you done this week for fishy shit? Because a lot of the time, the fishy shit that we're doing isn't necessarily fishing. You know, it's that prep work, it's that maintenance, it's that all that other stuff that kind of comes in, you know, into play. And I think that if we can kind of make that part fucking sexy, that's not a bad thing. We're gonna have a bunch of fucking badass anglers, you know. So I would just, you know, recommend use that opportunity to go ahead and do something. Now, I want to throw this in here. Obviously, if you are near frozen lakes, embrace the challenge of ice fishing. It's a completely different animal. And I would recommend you talk to your friends that are already into it and just try it out. You might really like it. You know, it might not be for you, but give it its due. You know, give it a shot. Try it out. Be safe, obviously, and definitely go out with somebody that's experienced. It can at least show you what's up. And yeah, take advantage of that. So that is the tip this week. Now, what about you, Joe? Do you have anything you want to throw in there that somebody should plan for?
No, I think you hit it. I think you hit it pretty good. You pretty much covered everything. That's all the same stuff I kind of do during the you know, the winter months. You know, when the boat's away, I'm just kind of I do a lot of studying, a lot of YouTube video watching. Yep. You know, a lot of time on Navionics. You know, things that. Just kind of looking at what my tournament season is going to be like, and ready for that, those bodies of water. So
it's also a really great time of year too. And I just thought of this, but like, if in your situation, Joe, because you pack your boat up for the winter, but if you have access to your boat, this is a great time to go through your boat on those like warmer days where it's not even super warm, but just like clean some shit out, organize some stuff. Do some of that stuff to kind of, and same thing for the kayak guys too. This is a time of year where, like, I'll give you a perfect example. Like, I have some work to do on my kayak, replacing my rudder blade. You know, I made the decision. I'm replacing the blade, and I'm going to keep this bent one. I'm going to straighten it out and keep it as a backup. You know, just because I'm a pack rat and it's ridiculous. But that's a good time to take that adventure. You know who's really good at this? Delirious Angler is really good at this. Packs up his kayak clean, does a full, like, cleans everything real nice, gets everything all set, and then does his upgrade work in advance. And then when he's ready to launch, everything's ready to go. You know, and he's like, you know, it works out all the kinks along the way. So it's a really, really good opportunity. You know, even if you start small and you're like, you know what, I really hate the way I've got my jigs organized. I'm going to build a jig box this winter. Yeah. You know, and you know, do something like that to kind of keep it fishy, you know? I love this. I actually love what John's got to say here. John Hagans goes, I do a lot of driving and scouting when I can't touch the water in the winter. I love to take advantage of the no leaves on trees or weeds, and I can see the spots that you can't normally see when it's warm. And I can get spots and then do the research at home to see what's private and what isn't. Dude, that is a great idea. Last weekend, I made that journey out to Eastern Mass and was essentially doing that because we didn't have any real open water that was anywhere that was worth fishing. Like I said, the one spot that we fished was this river that went under a bridge, and there just happened to be either right under the bridge, there was no ice. So we fished that for like 15 minutes and called it a day. But while I was out in that other area, there were bodies of water that I wanted to check out. Some of these bodies of water, Joe, have been mentioned in our Halloween special. The spooky, I was out in the Bridgewater Triangle, and I wanted to kind of experiment a little bit. So I dropped a couple of pins so I could look at some stuff there because I'm thinking that could be kind of fun. You know, we'll see what happens. And we'll just fool around. But there's a great opportunity, and John makes a really, really, really good point about the fact that when there's no leaves on the trees, you can see a lot more that's going on. And go pay attention to that stuff. And, you know, on whatever mapping app you're using on your phone, drop a pin and then go back and look at it and do your homework. It's pretty good. What else he adds? Drained flood control lakes are great places to explore while they're drained to winter pool. That's true. Out my way, we don't have a lot of lakes that get pulled down at all in the winter.
Oh God, it's all the ones by me.
It really is. I was surprised when you were like, oh yeah, they pulled Lashaway all the way down or whatever. And I went by, there was one day, it was when I was going to Hanks, I was on 9 and I went by, I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, dude, I wasn't kidding.
No, like seriously. I'm like, that is freaking crazy.
Yeah, it's wild.
But it is cool because like you can see like stumps and rocks and things and you're just like, all right, that's not too bad.
Yep.
And if you're an absolute fucking animal, put your muck boots on and walk out there and just put the freaking pin there. Boom. You're going to find fish on that shit. So, I would say, winter is not the greatest. And, like Joe had said, actually, there's one other tip I want to throw out there, too. If you've been toying around with content creation, this is your time to go out and try some shit out. You know what I mean? Try, just if you can find a local creek or something, go and try out that camera. Try doing your editing skills after the fact. Take some old footage if you've got it and fool around with some new stuff so that way when you're getting on them, because there's this belief that like,
oh, I'm a fishing YouTuber up there. There's got to be fish.
Yeah, but also no. If you're offering value to your viewer in one way or another, then that can be entertainment too. I mean, that comes into the equation as well.
100%.
If you're giving them value, make that content. So anyway, for what it's worth, it's good. Oh, this is also another thing John mentions. He goes, that is do lots of lures collected. Or that I do lots of lures collected. Yeah, I've seen that too, where people just go out farming for lures.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Because then you're just buying hooks.
Yep.
And you're like, oh, this is rusty as shit. Let's change this out.
Yeah.
I love it, man. I freaking love it. You guys are absolutely awesome. We're going to take a real quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to hear from Hunter Cummins, a longtime listener all the way out in Iowa. And when we come back after that, we'll wrap things up for you guys. More Jigs and Bigs coming up right after this. Hey guys, Bobby Roast Beef here from Jigs and Bigs. If there's one thing I can't stand spending money on, it's on something that's not versatile, something that I can't get a lot of use out of. I want to talk to you about Frost Buddy. What Frost Buddy is it's one of those can coolers. I've seen these before. In fact, I have some that are limited to only fitting one specific size of can, like a standard 12-ounce can. I stumbled onto Frost Buddy, and I was blown away with it. So versatile. Fits standard cans, tall cans, slim cans, and even 12-ounce bottles. And the magic is the insert fits all of these items in various stages within the insert. And when you take that out, you can fit a full 16-ounce tall boy can. In fact, it even doubles down on being versatile with the coffee lid. And on my recent trip to Chickamauga, I had a field day with this thing. I was throwing beer cans in it. I'd have coffee in the morning. On the drive, I was throwing in all different sizes of cans for different canned coffee products to keep me awake on the long drive back. The thing was amazing. So I recommend you check out Frost Buddy. If you're in the market for either a travel cup for your coffee or a can cooler at all, either one of those, check it out. For the money, you cannot go wrong. What I've done is this. In the show notes for this podcast you're listening to right now, if you look there, you'll find a link to Frost Buddy where you can get yours. And not only can you go and get your Frost Buddy there, but you can help out the show as well. Go and visit that link in the show notes to this podcast. Check out a Frost Buddy. Tons of colors, tons of patterns, all kinds of great stuff. And it's a great spot to put your Jigs and Bigs sticker too. Take it from me, Bobby Roast Beef. You're going to get the most versatility out of this one product, probably out of anything you're ever going to buy, especially for anything that you're drinking. Frost Buddy. It works for me. I'm a happy guy. Guys, Bobby Roast Beef here back. We got a guest in the beef seat this week. We have one of our many dedicated listeners that are out there, out in the Midwest area, just making it happen. Probably suffering a little bit with this cold ass weather time of year that we're here dealing with. Though he does get out on the ice. I think we're going to talk a little bit about that too. We got the one and only Hunter Cummins with us, the one and only HB Tricky. Now. You might know that name from the multi-species scavenger hunt series. He's popped in on occasion. I've also popped in on a couple of his lives every once in a while, and he has a knack for liking to go live while he's on the water, which I commend. Hunter, how you doing, buddy? What's going on?
Oh, it's pretty cold out here in Iowa.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any jig heads out there that are in Iowa, but if they are like nearby, we're suffering like negative of temps. But
really?
Last week was weird. Last week was 45, or no, last week it was 35, and then this week is like negative for some reason.
No kidding. Oh,
good thing for the ice, though. It's perfect. It's perfect for the ice.
It's great for that. Now, yeah, it is. It is really, really great for that. I'm concerned of. So I have a trip coming up that I'm planning. I'm going to Jersey. I'm going to Jersey on a quest to find open water, and I'm hoping that we don't get smacked with temperatures that cold because I'm camping for 2 nights, so it could be a mess. I got a couple of restaurant recommendations from Joe Cermelli in case it's an absolute shit show. But that's crazy. That's going to end up coming our way. That's going to be bad. You're in the negatives right now. That's terrible, man. But you like...
Kind of.
You enjoy ice fishing. Like I've seen your content. You're out there, you're sending it on hard water as well, how long have you been at it? Well, let's start at the beginning, actually. How did you get into fishing to begin with? And then where did ice fishing fit into this?
So I grew up fishing in Iowa, of course.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, never been anywhere else. My dream was technically to go every state and catch at least one fish, at least. But nowadays, I'm not sure about that. For expenses and like cost, but it will happen sometime. So I grew up fishing local rivers, catfishing and all that with my family and all. And I'm like, well, I had like a dream. I always think about streaming. Back then, it wasn't like typical streaming on the water or anything unless you watch like the upcoming YouTubers. The ones I honestly kind of fell in love in the industry of like the fishing wise is John B and like Flair and all of them pretty much. I did watch Ben Milliken here and there, but I was unsure about him. So I just been watching like YouTubers doing it. I'm like, wait, if they can do it, I can do it.
Sure. Yeah.
And I don't see that many like other Iowa YouTubers around here much. I met few, yes, now, but back then I didn't see no one doing it. So I'm like, if I can do it, or if they can do it, I can do it. If that makes sense.
No, for sure it does. It definitely does. And it's funny, like any of the guests that we've had on at one time or another, or even other content creators that are a little bit more established and have gotten, really into it. John B is the name. It's just the name. Everybody talks about John B. And the guy has, I'm talking about when you go early on in his stuff, before he was working with any editors or anything like that, the stuff he would do on his own, super creative, really great storytelling. And I'll bet you that guy alone is probably able to take credit for a large amount of younger folks getting into fishing, single-handedly, just because this stuff is so watchable. And, he kind of keeps people like wanting to get after it. You know what I mean? Something about it. I'd love to have that guy on the show. I don't think it's ever going to happen, though, but we'll see.
No.
We'll see. He's a little bit too big time right now to be on Jigs and Bigs.
He's a little too big. Maybe AP Bass and his partner. I watched him a little, and then that's actually how I found out about Fishing with Becca. And
okay, nice.
That's how I know Fishing with Becca, and I seen her do like a few ice videos as well. And I'm like, all right, she's catching bass on, I can't remember which video exactly, but she was literally ice fishing with a jig and just like a plastic and catching bass. So like, I can do that. So now if you go back to last year, I did that. I caught a bass through the ice finally. Well, a few other videos I had, and I only caught 2 basses through the ice.
Yep.
But not on the rod though. It was tip ups, and around here, it's not common for someone to catch a fish through a tip up, I guess. And I'm like, really? It's not that hard. You just gotta know what you're doing,
Yeah, exactly. Well, and the thing is too, a lot of it is just experimenting. You know what I'm saying? Now, when you go out on the ice, and I'm always surprised, some folks never, when they go out there, there's no electronics. They go out, they're just like, I have fished this spot. I know the cover. And, maybe they use electronics in their boat or their kayak or something, and they know what's under there. And they're like, this is a rock pile I want to make sure to hit. So I'm going to go and I'm going to figure this out on my own. So there's definitely ways to get around it. But I'm always amazed to see some of the folks that are out there that are just using even flashers, just to get set up. Now, when you're going out, you're just going out. What we like to say in the industry is you're raw dogging it. You're no electronics whatsoever. You're just making it happen.
I used to use no electronics at all. My first 2 years into ice fishing, I'm like, you know what?
Yep.
It's just like summer, right? You fish off the bank or you fish that cover, and they make little weights you put on your tip of your string, and you drop it down to the bottom, and that would tell how far.
What your depth is.
That's called.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forget what they call that. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I just call it a weight, to be honest.
Yep.
I used to do that for a little bit, and then I'm like, well, since the third line, so in Iowa, you have to purchase your third line. You can only have 2 lines.
Oh, really?
When you purchase your fishing, So how I do it, I purchased my third line. I have 2 tip ups running now, and then I just me and a whole jigging and being live on either my phone or stuff like that. But I've been, like I said, I think I've been focusing more on filming than being live on my phone, because when you're live streaming on the ice with your phone, it drains your battery pretty quick because it's cold. Of course, it's common sense right there. But after that 2 years, I bought my first Vexilar FL8, and I just fell in love with it. That was awesome. But recently, I just got my live scope up together.
Oh shit, bougie.
Yeah, it is bougie. Everyone's like saying you don't need that on here. I said, you're right, I don't, but it's pretty fun on the ice
and,
now.
you know, I'll be honest with you. Like, I am not a huge fanatic when it comes to ice fishing or anything. I like to do more active stuff. So the idea of like setting tip ups and like grilling and stuff is awesome. Don't get me wrong. I'm there for that. Not regularly. I just don't want to lug that much stuff around. But like the active ice fishing, like I fished with a flasher before, but who was I watching recently? It was AP Bassin. He's in Canada and he just put out a couple of videos. He's in a multi-species tournament actually in Canada and he's fishing on the ice. And I'll tell you, if from a content perspective, that makes the whole process so much more exciting to watch because he was catching giant smallies and what else was a whitefish, and then he caught something else that was like totally random, and but it was great because you actually, you know, he would screen record and then you could see what was happening on the screen as it was, so it was a little bit more exciting than just seeing somebody standing at a hole jigging and then getting like, oh shit, there's something hooked up, you know. I'm telling you, it just makes it so much more interesting when you can actually see the fish move up. Yeah,
and let me tell you, the live scope this year has been really fun.
I bet.
But I still bust out the Vexler a lot because I don't feel like pulling out my live scope right away and put it in the hole to find the depth and see if there's any marks on fish, especially there's a lake down the road from me. It's only like, since the ice is 8 to 10 inches right now, that water's only going to be pushing maybe 5 feet, 5 feet deep. So you could just look down and jig. I mean, I just posted a video not too long ago. You kind of see down in the hole and all, but why use the live scope right away when you could just drop? Or you can, most anglers nowadays that don't have Vexlars or nothing, I told them to do is drill the hole and don't scoop the ice away. You can actually look way down there in the hole, probably at least like 4 foot deep down to see if you can see the bottom or not.
Yep.
So sometimes you'll see fish flying, sometimes you won't. I mean, it's just depending on the baroque temperature and the water. A lot of people was like, oh, okay, if I don't have any electronics or anything, how do I know when it's a good day to go ice fishing? I said, well, go on FishBrain or something else that is related. Do your homework about that lake and stuff like that. Always look for the baroque temperature, of course. You want that either between closest to that 30 mark or like 28 is still good. But if it's like down to like 27, 26, it's going to be a slow bite and you're better off sleeping out there from that point.
Okay. So, that's good to know. Usually, anytime I've ever gone ice fishing, it's been like, well, it's a day. Let's just go. We'll see what we can get. Although I should say, I think I've probably...
Or if you just want to...
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. You lagged on my side.
All right.
I was going to say, if you just want to go out and enjoy the weather, you could just at least enjoy God's creation, I mean, that's all you can really do.
Yeah. I've probably only ice fished, in all seriousness, I would say realistically 12 times, less than 15 for sure, in my entire life. And I think I've caught fish once. And it was like when we were at a camp and we were out there for multiple days, and it was just being tenacious, just being out there. And just like out of the 2 days that we were fishing, I happened to get hooked up with, I forget what I even caught. I think it was like a yellow perch. And then we left some tip-ups up overnight and caught a bunch of bullhead. That was...
I'm sorry.
Fair enough, man. That's savage. I love it.
I don't like bullheads. They're too there's too many of them everywhere. But if you're ever coming up Iowa or maybe even Minnesota, I guarantee I get you catch a good fish. Last year I made a goal. I told my friend, hey, pick any species on the table, we'll go catch it. He's like, all right, I want to catch a pike. All right. I brought him to a place that has pike, and we caught it instant.
That's awesome.
I just know.
That's awesome.
So I'm telling you about I could get out there.
Yeah, half the battle is knowing, like when you're targeting multi-species, like you said before, doing your homework. So going on and looking at the resources that you've got, whether it be your state's, pond maps, you look at that kind of stuff. And oftentimes there's going to be a breakdown of what the fish species are. But you got to be careful because sometimes in those, it'll be, listed for a date that was like 30 years ago. And maybe that fish species is not as, commonly found over there. It's been a while. Or maybe new things have been introduced from like a variety of different reasons, something like that. But it's like primarily you just got to go where that species of fish is and go for it. So now you're the first interview for 2025. So, I mean, there's that, First interview of 2025. Here we are. We're recording it. It's all good. I'm only actually next week, I'm going to be working pretty diligently on setting up the tournament schedule for Jigs and Bigs. And part of that is obviously the multi-species monthlies. But this year we're doing something new. There's been a lot of people and I was really impressed with the way the last one went out as far as the level of people signing up for it. We're going to do a monthly slot limit tournament. We're going to pick a Saturday. It'll probably be the third or fourth Saturday of the month, every single month, and we're going to do a single day slot limit tournament, 8-hour window, nationwide again. You've done our tournaments. Have you gotten any other tournaments like a local trail or anything over in your area?
Bass fishing. Well, I want to do bass fishing, and around here, good luck. There's nothing around here. There's nothing but walleye anglers. I'm not hating on no walleye anglers.
Sure.
I'm keeping that out there. But they bash on bass anglers that are trying to upcome into the sport around here, which sucks. It sucks. And I always get told, hey, you should do that walleye tournament, or hey, you should do that muskie tournament. I mean, or whatever. I love catching multi-species. I really do. But
definitely,
there's not really no bass tournaments around here. If there is, it's just for the kids. There's no adult ones like the KBF or Bass Masters around here.
You're not going to find any. No. But even
I know
local aluminum club or your local local trail. There's got to be an ABA near you.
I don't really know.
Really?
I know there's walleye series around here. I just don't know what's called, to be honest. I don't. If it's something I am not really interested, I'm not gonna follow into it. But I know Kevin Paul. He's a fishing guy around here, Clear Lake. He does his own yellow bowser ice fishing tournament. That's a huge really? tournament. Last year or year before, they caught 4,000 yellow bass that day, and that is crazy.
That's nuts.
And I was thinking about doing the walleye series just to give it a try. Or I know Okoboji. I think that's Spare Lake over there in Western Isle or whatever you want to call it. I know they have a bass mat, Iowa Bass Stalker, Bass Masters little club they have going on.
Oh, okay.
It's only duo. They don't do single. I want to do single.
All right. Gotcha.
I don't know anyone who would actually want to be my partner. So I'm well, okay, if I do that walleye series for Clear Lake, that's one main tournament that's close to my house. If I want to do it, I'm just going to do it solo. I'm just going to write it out, go against two duos, and just get it done. I mean, other than that, I figure out it's better off doing online tournaments around here. I get asked all the time what tournaments are what kind of tournament are you doing right now? I said, okay. So for example, I was doing the Jigs and Bigs. I had at least 10 people ask me, what kind of tournament are you doing? Is it for here? I said, no, it's online. And they were asking so much questions about it. So
that's awesome.
I broke it down, showed them the app, what you do and this and that. Maybe I might make a video just for the local people around here so they can understand. I have at least 5 people that are new that will be competing this year because of me. So, I mean,
that's awesome, dude.
That I'm just trying to help the local people around here. And I have kids come up to me and they're asking, "Oh, I see you have a GoPro. You must have a YouTube channel, or you must have or you're streaming or whatever. What are you doing?" I said, "Just fishing. That's all." So you just gotta help the kids and help the people grow around here. Like I said, bass fishing ain't common around here.
Yeah.
And when I bought my kayak, I really got everyone's attention around here because it's not common to have a kayak.
Yeah.
It's always boat anglers or whatever. So when I bought my Bonafide RVR, it's my first Bonafide and all that. And I'm like, I love it. I need more room. But I had my Garmin right in front. So I had like a 10-inch screen right here. Yeah. And I was like, oh, look at that notepad on the lake right there. And I just want to hit my head on a tree and just, I didn't want to ever hear them. I did not ever want to hear someone say that, especially if they're like another like angler. I'm like, okay, exactly. You guys know it's you know, that is kind of a little offensive sometimes, but I said, no, it's all right, guys. I'm just doing my side imaging my local ponds and stuff. So, on the aspects of that, as an angler, I like to fish the banks. I love. I just bought a Lund boat, and I'm just going to give it a test till I get my bass boat. Then I can actually start competing and traveling because that's the. You gotta have the money, and you gotta do that. So, or if you want to do Bass Masters and stuff like that.
What did you get for a Lund? I'm a little partial to Lund myself.
Okay, so I just bought a steel on Marketplace. Yeah. It's only a 16-footer by I think 8 wide, maybe. I don't know.
Is it an angler or do you know what the name is of the boat? If it's a fisherman.
I think it's a angler.
Rebel?
It's a lot. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a Rebel. It's a Rebel for sure.
Okay, it's a Rebel.
It's it's the old classic Lund.
Yep.
I'm gonna just give it a try. I love kayaking. I had to sell my kayak because I needed more room. Everyone's like, you don't need that much room. I said, yes, I do. You don't understand. I want to be the best kayak out here, of course, but because everyone has decked out boats, I don't see one decked out kayak. When me and my buddy went out, we were get all the attention, and I mean, catching fish running from them is kind of funny. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, they don't like that.
Yeah.
So
it's funny. There's a spot where I mean, kayak angling is in really all over the Northeast. There's a lot of folks that are into it. They really are. But it's your average everyday person that is, that's not like, they don't live and breathe this kind of stuff like we do. Your average person to them, it's like looking at a spaceship. Like I would stop at a gas station on my way to or from the water, and I would get all of these looks from all kinds of folks that don't fish, folks that don't, they're just like, what is that? Oh my God. And but then I don't know, there's just something bizarre about the idea of that one individual watercraft being rigged out for efficiency when you're on the water. A lot of people think of kayaks and they're just like, you get in there, you paddle around, and that's it. I mean, very few people have been on the water for 8 hours a day in a kayak, and we're special people. Yep. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot. It's a whole lot. So I definitely understand when people are looking at it like, holy shit, that's crazy. I used to launch at this one body of water specifically, and the same 5 or 6 trout dudes that would chase the stalking truck over there, I would pull up and they would act like it was like they were the first time they were ever seeing this thing. And I'm like, you guys know who I am. We have conversations like regularly. Like we have a rapport. I'm like, this is nothing crazy, but everybody's got a million questions about it. And it is a newer type of fishing for sure. Then when I bought the boat, it was a whole other animal. Because everybody's, I don't know, I guess like they're like when you see a fishing boat, you're like, it is what it is. It's a fishing boat. I think personally, you're gonna love that one. Do you have a rear tiller or do you have like a console where you can steer from?
So it's a rear.
It's rear tiller. Okay.
I got to do all by hand. That's no problem because when you.
I will say the good thing about that is 100% of your space is usable fishing space.
Oh, yeah.
That's why a lot of those walleye guys do it.
Yeah. I always want the steering wheel. I always wanted that just because I kind of have more control in a way, but at the same time, it's no different. So I love the space. Yep. Before I bought this boat, I had a John boat, two-person John boat. I think I went live, and you probably see me a few times on there.
I think so.
And that I had a deck built in there like a bass boat, and people was like, "That's a really nice boat. What y'all do?" Mm-hmm. So I broke it down. And I said plywood, some oak 2x4s, build it up like a low deck, like. Yep. Like I watched a few videos, like when Flair was growing up, up in the making, he was doing this stuff, and I always wanted to do it. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do it, and I did it. And then I believe it or not, I was like, what kind of troll motor you got on there? I said it's not 45 pounds. Yeah. I smacked a 75-pound troll motor up front. So I was flying everywhere on the.
Holy shit, dude. Jesus Christ!
I was flying. I was just having fun. Don't worry, I had my life jacket on.
Yeah, of course. But you can. That thing's got.
I was flying.
You turn all the way to the left or the right and hit that, where like your co-angler behind you doesn't know you're turning. They're going out of the boat. Like that's great. That's fast.
I didn't have no one with me. I just everything I bought was just a steal in the marketplace. I was like, all right, I'm gonna smack a 75-pound thrust up front. Yeah. I'm gonna fly. Then I took it out fishing. I'm like, all right, I like to go a little quicker instead of use a. I didn't have. Well, I did have. I had a I can't remember. Mercury for. Like 4-stroke or 2-stroke. I can't remember. I think it's a 2-stroke. I had that in the back, just a little motor, so I could get across the lake or so. But most time I just fish like ponds. So and these ponds you can't have motors. You can only have
electric motors. Only. Yeah, that's common.
Yeah. So nice. I was out there smacking, and it's scary when a big boat comes by when you're on a low John boat because dude, you want to hang on for dear life.
It's scary when I'm in my Lund, and that's like a 1,600-pound boat. Like it's a big, you know what I mean? And I'm like, this thing can take whatever. If you're in like 20-mile-an-hour winds or something, and there's a larger boat that comes by a little on plane or something, and it starts tossing you around, you're like, holy shit, this is gonna be nuts. That's part of the reason why I got rid of the foot pedal with my trolling motor. And I went with a remote that hangs around my neck for better footing. You know? I could never, I get why people do it, having the foot pedal control, but I don't know. It's like I've gotten pretty comfortable with using the remote, and I kind of like it where it's at. But that's good, man. I think, I definitely think you should look into one of those walleye tournaments just to dip your foot into it and see what it's all about. But competitive angling isn't necessarily for everybody, but I do think everybody should at least try it,
Yeah. And I just, honestly, I was thinking about doing, like I said, doing the walleye tournament and stuff like that, because I get asked all the time, man, you can toss a turd on end of your line to catch something, no matter wherever you take it. I said, I'm not going to test that theory, but I understand what you mean. So I know past last year, all the years of fishing, I've been catching walleye. And then every time I fish for walleye, I always hook up in a muskie. And, that's 10,000 casts, they supposedly say. That's what they say. Yeah. I don't think for when it comes to me, I really don't think that's true. I mean, I just don't know why they like me so much. And I'm only fishing for walleye. Like the last 2024. Yep. The last 2024, I caught 2 back-to-back muskies within. Yeah, it's crazy around here. And people's like, that's a dream of a lifetime. You going to keep it? No, I'm not going to keep it. I'm going to toss it back in.
Of course.
Why? It's good eating. I don't care what you think.
Yeah.
This is a sport, and this lake is a sport when it comes to like muskie. It's Clear Lake, Iowa. Whenever you guys like come up here, I would definitely go there if you want to catch yellow bass, crappie, just everything. Yeah, it's an awesome lake over here. There's other lakes I definitely want to go. It's just I'm just stuck around here right now.
Yeah, that's just kind of the way it works. So let's talk like techniques and stuff. Like what's your go-to techniques, that like your short list of stuff that you're like, this is how I like to fish the most, or, you know, that you've just had a run of. I find that oftentimes the way that people like to fish the most is what they've had the most success on, simply because they do it most often, but they could be different. So go ahead. What's your list look like for techniques that you like the best?
So if we're talking about like are we like talk about all season round, or are we just talking about like the temperatures or what?
And it doesn't matter if it's going to change up. Go ahead. Yeah, doesn't matter.
So I fell in love using either a jig head with a swim bait, like a 3.5 swim bait.
My man.
Or sometimes I'll switch that 3.5 and up it to like maybe a 4 or 5 to the bigger swim baits, because the bigger of the swim bait, I kind of found I get better performance and better luck, but nothing beats the 3.5. So I usually run that on. I try to keep it a spinning like reel, but I run bait casters all the time. So I was like, I'm just gonna put on here, and then I'm cast over. I like to run that swim bait from the deep to the shallow sometimes, or from shallow to maybe mid to deep. But I always had success on my 3.5 swim baits in the cold temps. Warm temps, yes and no. I typically run a flipping jig. I love flipping jigs with the Mr. Creepy Crawly, or just maybe the bullfrog, like little frogs texture we got. And I like to flip it, or sometimes the slower bites gets the best performance. But from last year and all the years before, I've been throwing the jerk bait. I've been smacking the jerk bait. I took a break from the jerk bait and the crankbaits because it bit me in a hand. I got stuck between my thumb and I got 2 places. It was not
that sucks.
Fun.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I was laughing. I was laughing the whole time. I'm like, I gotta go.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Dude, that sucks. And I'll tell you what, ever since the last time I got hooked really bad, when it comes to any treble hook bait at all, I'm like, yeah, this fish is getting lip grips. 100%. I'm not fooling around with it. I'm using pliers every single time. I don't even, if I can avoid it, I don't even like lipping a fish out of the water with trebles in hand, because they're especially the smaller ones, they're so freaking crazy, you know? And smallies, especially, they're all piss and vinegar. So I'm like, I'm just going to avoid getting a hook in the hand so I can stay out here as much as possible. So I'm like, yeah, you're going in the net. I'm like, you got trebles, fish grips on, boom, pliers. We'll get rid of that lure. We'll take care of everything, and we're good to go. Yeah, I don't blame you, man. And you know, like jerkbait fishing is phenomenal. Yeah. I'm curious, you like jerkbaits. Tell me about your jerkbait setup.
So what do you mean by like my whole rig of like rod, reel, everything?
Yeah, like that. When you're throwing jerkbaits, like I'm talking like your typical like 110, like to 90 size jerkbait. What are you throwing it on?
So, I mean, I'm not really so typical about that yet, because I I mean, I'm understanding everything still, but I usually run a medium fast action, and I have it either on. Sometimes when I throw my jerkbait, I run only 10-pound test. I don't run 12, 13, 15, 20. It's 10-pound. If I can do with ice with 2-pound test, I can do just fine. I can just do fine. It's just all about the drag. Yeah. And if you trust your line and stuff like that, that's all you really need.
Yep.
And so I typically use my jerk baits on, so like my bait caster, I use a Shimano.
Yep.
SLX, just the oh god.
So the 151
one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's I have a couple of them. They're great. The best $99 you can spend.
Right. It's like it's like a kid going to a candy shop or something, Yeah. I mean, it's just the best one.
For the money, pound for pound, it's a great reel. I love them.
Yep.
The rod, you said you're using a medium power fast action. What's the length that you're using on that rod?
So I used to run a 6.5, but I upgraded to a 7 just because when I'm doing the twitches and the slow, or when I'm just doing the twitches alone and jerking nonstop, sounds pretty bad. Sorry, y'all, but literally. Yep, gotta let that out, I guess. When I'm doing that, I like to get the extra. All I have to feel is the tip just move literally just a little down, and you can just set the hook a lot quicker.
Oh yeah,
without longer length.
Yep.
But sometimes it's nice to have a 6.5 length, only because when you're fishing either around the trees or whatever, or not even just around the trees, just some of those rods you can feel in your rod that little hit, because usually, like I said, if I'm targeting walleye or even anything, it's usually 3 hits, usually at least. Yeah, and you can feel when they hit it. Well, how I could tell what's gonna hit is because like walleye, they hit 3 times. It seems like bass just they go stupid, and you think it's it could be a crappie sometimes, or it could be just an average crackhead. Like this bass is a crackhead trying to eat his bait. I would be hungry too. Don't worry, I would be hungry if I was a fish too. And then you have those muskies and pike. They're just stupid. They like to hit hard. Yeah, every time.
And those are the ones I want to avoid getting on a jerkbait with 3 treble hooks. Those specifically are the fish I want to avoid. But they love them.
So, my story of getting my hand hooked was not fun. So. At the time, I had my first truck. My first truck was a manual 5-speed, like Ram, like a 01 or whatever. So there's a dam not too far from my house. It's shallow. Yep. And you might see what's going on here, right? So I got hooked in. I got hooked in the right hand. I got hooked in my right hand. So I was fishing the pond, and I seen a huge pike. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get this with the crank. Because it's just, why not? I just bought it. Yeah. I never used a crankbait before. Never, ever. And it was a sexy shad. Yep. And it's not that small ones. It's the thick trevor hook ones. Brand new out the box. I think it was a Berkeley. Or, pretty sure it was a Berkeley. And I'm casting. I'm just swiping. And boom, I got one. And it's only like maybe a 16-inch. My dumbass decided to try boat flip it into my hand. Well, when he did his head, I'm sure. So the dam's right here. There's an edge right here, and the water's right here. So like, if I go in, I might have a chance of maybe swimming and not try to die type deal. And pretty much, I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna get him on this rock. Whatever. When I put my hand on the rock and try to grab him, he did his head switch. He came off, went deep in my thumb and my pointer finger, really deep. Like it was tickling my bone a little. I know that's graphic for whoever. I don't like that. Don't worry. And
the old bone.
I still
tickling.
got. I still.
I'm sorry. I'm
oh
sorry.
no, man! Don't make me piss my pants, Bob. So I always got a picture of the fish.
Yep.
I'm like, I'm in shock. I'm laughing. I'm like, shit. So I had a pack up, and I'm in shock. I'm laughing this whole time.
Now
I bust my phone. I had to record this.
This fish isn't hooked at this point. Like he's off the hooks, and you're holding him.
Yeah, he.
Oh, okay.
So instead of him hooking me or me hooking him, he hooked me.
Yeah, gotcha.
He did the Uno reverse card on
the Uno reverse, yes.
Yeah. So I'm heading back to the truck, and keep in mind this is my first manual truck.
Yep.
And I have to use my hand to shift, and there's a hill all the way up to the house or up to the stop sign. So I'm like, okay, there's a sheriff here just trying to see what's going on. So I went to wave, not with my clean hand, with my hook, and he just looks at me weird and starts driving away. So I just went home, and this is I can't make this up. I live in the country out here.
Oh
and
yeah.
I'm taking a back road to my house because I don't want to deal with getting pulled over and stuff like that. And there was a horse in the road, and I'm trying to dodge. I was in second gear. Then I dropped third. Then I had to put in fifth. Then right when I see the horse, I'm like, oh god.
Oh my god.
So I dropped fifth gear. I go to like third. And I'm like, all right, I'm just going to go around and keep RPMs. Then I got home, and I said, I told my dad, I did some. I'm in a lot of pain, but I did some. So I told him there's a way you can get this out. Mm-hmm. There's plenty of ways to get it out.
Yeah. I
don't think we can get it out, though. That's the only problem. So I know you can get twine or whatever and just yank it. We tried that. I said no. We're going to ER.
Yeah.
So
if it was that deep and it was tickling the bone, like you want to go and if nothing else, get some lidocaine, get something to dull that pain so they can just get it out. Did you take the split rings off? So that because I mean, if you do the braid trick and it's still connected, that is just. Because you had both a front and rear hooks in two different spots, right?
Yeah. I had one in my thumb and a pointer. So I'm like, okay.
Did you have split ring pliers near you to be able to like get those off so it would?
Bobby, no. I had to go home. And the worst part is they were in my skin too.
Yeah.
So everything was in there. Like looking at it, and like. Yeah, I mean, my whole hand's numb. I'm kind of laughing, but what else can you do? I mean, when you're in a bad situation, all you can do is just laugh and just move on with the day.
100%. Jesus.
So I went to the ER, and they're like, so what happened? So I had to break the news down. I said, it looked like a beautiful day, beautiful spring, and I wanted to test out this bait so bad. I was looking at it.
You tested
it. So I went to the river and tested that. Yep. So ever since I do that, I have not been using crankbaits much, but I will. When I use jerk baits and crankbaits, when I do hook them, I try to keep the fish calm down somehow.
You have
good luck.
Yeah. There is. It's true. It's like you have a different respect for that many points on a single bait. You know, when you get a fish that does manage to eat, because it's so funny. Like when I started bass fishing, the first presentation I ever had any, I would say, regular success with, it wasn't a Senko or anything like that. It wasn't even any soft plastic. It was a square bill. It was a crankbait. You know, and it was just I had some wicked confidence with it, and it was years before I ever got hooked bad. You know, like I'd catch like the tip or, you know, in an appendage, and I could take that. It was no big deal. That's fine. Anything like past the barb deep in some muscle tissue, that shit hurts so bad, man. And it sucks.
Tell me about it.
It's terrible. And it is since that I've just got, and I do like now, and you'll understand too. You're going to eventually you're like, well, shit, it's a crankbait bite, or, you know, it's lipless season. Let's do it. Or a blade bait in the winter. Like, sometimes you just got to do it. But that experience alone is going to give you a lifetime of respect for treble hooks, especially if you, now, are you a Dark Horse subscriber? I forget. Are you a Dark Horse guy?
No,
if you ever
fell.
If you ever get to that point where you're like, yeah, you're drinking the Dark Horse Kool-Aid like we are over here, be very, very careful because those hooks that they rig all of the hard baits with Vector tornado hooks. And have you ever seen a Vector tornado hook? Yeah.
I actually I used to be like a pro staff for Vector hooks back then. And so I don't know if it's that company or not, but they're sharp. I understand that, especially if they're handmade, you know. And
they are not coming out. That's what those Vector tornado trebles are designed to hook them and keep them hooked. So it is rough. Zach was on our last episode, and because that's the thing, they do all the hardware themselves, Zach and Josh. And he was like, he got a couple of good Vectors in his hand. I remember he sent me a picture. He's like, yep, I had to pull this one out. And now I think it's just, they just grab some pliers and just go ham and just do it. But, you know.
From that point, you might as well.
You might as well.
You're used to it.
Sit down and it's going to get cute.
Sadly.
That is rough. That is rough. Well, I mean, that's brutal, man. I'm sure there are listeners all over the country right now just grimacing with the idea of having two treble hooks connected in between two fingers. God damn it.
Yeah, so every time I'm fishing, I kind of look down at my hand like, that was fun.
Yeah, like, that was fun.
I mean, what else can you do? I mean,
absolutely.
You can't like be scared. Yeah, you can be scarred about everything in life, but sometimes you just kind of laugh at it and just like, all right, move on, you know?
You'll eventually get back into the swing of things, and then you're going to be like, oh, yeah, we're going to be a little bit more careful with this because I remember that experience, and it was not great. That's the biggest thing I'm afraid of because I love fishing with new people. Like so new that they've never fished before. Like I just love the joy on their face when they actually catch something. They're just like, holy shit, this is crazy. You know, and you can see it start to kind of click with them. I am so afraid for when, you know, somebody manages to get like a decent size hook in them and it's like, holy shit, what am I going to do? Because that early on, that can turn somebody off really quick. And they're just like, yeah, I don't know about this. I don't know. Yeah,
that could shut down an angler pretty quick. It'd be like, yep, not for me no more. Yeah. I'm done. Type deal.
So when
I'm not like that person.
No. You and I are very different like that. No, that's awesome. Let's talk about when you're on your way to the water. Like, how do you get hyped up to go? And like, are you listening to anything specifically that gets you like in the zone? What's that like when you're out? You know, even planning like on your way out there. Where's your mind and like what are you kind of looking for inspiration?
So every time I am on the way to the lake, frozen lake or water. Of course, I love listening to podcasts and stuff like that. But I do like a lot of people would say you like rap music, this and that. But I call it like a hip hop head, like back in the like Tupac and all that. Yep. So like I listen
good stuff.
The good stuff.
Yeah.
The good stuff. I listen to all that. And nowadays, of course, but it's whatever. But I pretty much like talk to myself. It sounds weird. I talk to myself. I'm like, you know, this is my dream. I am out here chasing it.
Yep.
No one can be me. And guess what? I will blow up soon. So I pretty much talk to myself while listen to either like I listen to you guys all the way to the water.
Yep.
And on the water.
You
and
need
then
expert advice. I mean, it makes perfect sense.
Like, or sometimes I'll just listen to my country, just relax, just depending on the day, you know. I mean,
I'm with you.
It's most of the time when I go to the lake, I'm literally, my brain is racking. All right, I need a good camera angle here and there. I'm trying to like make it more interesting for my viewers, because all these other YouTubers I've been watching, like around Iowa, I'm just trying to do more quality than quantity, if that makes sense. Or, you know what I mean?
I know
but
exactly
when you're small, you have to drop. It seems like you have to keep dropping. You got to keep pushing videos of numbers. Sad to say, but I get comments all the time. Like, my videos are literally really good. They love it. But I mean, I'm just real picky when it comes to when I'm on the water. So I think all this out. Or sometimes when I'm heading to the water, you know what, I'm just going to put some nice tunes or so. I do have my own playlist. Or sometimes if I really want to get in my zone, I just put in Johnny Cash. I'm onto the water. And you know what? I'm just going to fish my heart out. Whatever hits. Now for the Jigs and Bigs tournament now, like I said, I have my own like playlist to like hype me up, like stuff you use in the gym or stuff like that. But
for sure,
usually when I'm on my way to the lake or body of water, I typically just listen to podcasts, have your mind really nice and easy, dialed in. I don't know. I just like more how I feel on the way of how I want to like listen to. Sometimes I just talk to someone on the phone really and just have a conversation with someone instead of music or whatever, you know, just dialed in, calm down and stuff like that. I mean, what else can you do? But like when it comes to like ice fishing, of course, we actually a week ago we had a bad accident on the lake. It's really sad, but it's nice to let someone know where you're going to. So of course I'm always on the phone. I'm letting everyone know, hey, I'm gonna be live here. If you guys want to come see me, you can come watch me.
Sure.
Only difference is when you're driving, you can't go live because
no.
They ban you. They ban you instant.
Oh, on TikTok for sure. Instagram's different.
I know.
You can pull that off TikTok.
Oh no, I got kind of like suspended on Instagram for just driving.
Really?
To the water. Yeah. I'm like, okay, probably because I don't have that much like followers. Maybe. I'm not even speeding. I'm not doing nothing bad.
Yeah.
You guys are right here. I'm right here. I'm talking to you guys. I say, okay, if my fishing guide locally around here can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
But I think it's based on followers. I think it has
maybe.
To be.
That's weird.
I don't know.
Yeah,
but no, TikTok don't like it. No.
Yeah, they'll shut it down every time I try. Every single time I try, any kind of reason to. They're real strict with TikTok. But man, that's nuts. So how has your YouTube journey been? Because this last year was the first year that I just sort of started taking it like quasi seriously, and you know it's been a little bit of a challenge, I think, kind of getting there, but it's been really fun too. What's it been like for you?
So, believe it or not, how my channel started, I made videos on like the PlayStation playing games.
Yep.
Now if anyone listens or plays like PlayStation or anything, there's a video editing software on there for the games called Share Factory. So I started, at that time I had my GoPro Hero Session. And I had my phone.
Oh, yeah.
Straight Talk, Walmart, whatever. You name it, whatever.
Sure.
And I'm like, all right. I posted a video because I wanted to do more outdoor stuff. I can't sit on my ass, play games, and stream forever. Now, you can make big money now, but that's not me. I like to get out. I like to make a journey for everyone to enjoy. Sure. And it's just me, you know. I'm pretty much building myself. So that's how my YouTube channel came up. The first 3 videos I dropped with fishing, my numbers were 5 to like 70. soon as I dropped my like any fishing, I start getting more views, more likes, more attention. I'm like, oh shit! All right, I'm done with gaming. I moved on to that, and then ever since I did more fishing and all that, I just pretty much I learned to realize I'm creating a structure of who I am now today. So I like my first pro staff. I asked the fishing guide. He has plenty of sponsors around here. He's actually one of the I think partners of Clam. He's part of Clam.
Oh, really? That's great. That's a great company to be involved with in your part of the country.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Only if I can do that sometime. No, I want Eskimo. I'm not gonna lie, it's a lot better. But no, we're not gonna get into ice, like companies and stuff like that. But I wanted to do something like how like John B was doing, right? He's all these companies. I'm like, I'm gonna do that someday. And so I start applying on Instagram, DM people. I'm like, hey, is there a way I could be sponsored or like a pro staff? Or I don't know nothing.
Yeah, exactly. So you're going into it totally green.
Like this, I have no clue what anything is. Like the plastics I'm used to seeing is like Yums, Berkeley, and like just stuff like that, just all that big brand, which Spirit Lake here in Iowa, there's a Berkeley warehouse. So that's kind of where I kind of learned about Berkeley and stuff like that. So I applied for a few companies and DM them. And honestly, I ran it across, I think 2017, 18, I ran across this one company and I fell in love with them, and ever since they show my support of who I am and my content and stuff like that, and now I'm sponsored by them, which is huge for someone who don't know what the hell they're doing. Yeah, but now I do, obviously. So like
who's the company?
Riverwise Fishing.
Oh, all right. Yep.
Yeah, I talked to you about them a few times. Every time I go live, I always mention their name because everyone's like, what are you using? What are you using? I pull it up, that 3.5 swim bait. I'm telling you, that water, if that water's like 20 degrees, everyone's like, oh, no, it's biting. Yeah, right. I'm over here. I'm catching smallies. I'm catching largies. They're like, what are you catching on? Well, just I give them a business card, of course. Yeah, I just try to get more people towards their way, and then I applied for like Woo Tucson. Yep. That was my few one. Actually, that's how I kind of came across the podcast there because I think you guys did an interview with Aaron, right?
Yeah, we did. We had Aaron on. Yeah, this was like 2021, I think.
Yeah. That's how I found you guys. Yep. Completely, because I'm like, okay, Riverwise Fishing. They hop on podcasts. I can't remember what podcast. And I'm like, all right. So I'm like, I want to learn more about Woo Tucson and other companies, which there's other ones I know about and stuff like that. And then I found you guys. I'm like, man, these guys are funny. So I'm like working and listening to you guys. I'm like, man, okay. Then as soon as I heard tournament, I'm like, okay,
I'm doing this.
You guys are my official first tournaments ever.
That's awesome, man.
Like ever. I mean, we did like a low group tournament. Like, all right, if with a board, just get bored. Like me and the guys on the team, like in the company, like pro staff at the time. We did a little group thing with the company, and that's how I learned from doing tournament fishing. Then, all right, I did my homework. Like, I'm telling you, if you guys do your homework and do what you want to do, I promise you will actually get there, And now look where we're at, Bobby. I'm here talking to you guys. Yeah. Well, I don't see Joe, but I will see Joe, and sometimes. So I don't know. Some year I will see him. But definitely if Joe's ever listening, hi. No one knows me, I guess. I'm just a Iowa angler. I would love to meet you guys some year. I mean, I think it will happen.
It's for sure going to happen. I am pushing real hard to make the show more of a traveling circus in a way. It's kind of like I really want to take it to that level. It's just the balance between handling business, making a living, and having the time to be able to do these things. We're so close. It's insane. So I'm just staying the course to try to make it happen. I've got a couple of trips that I have lined up, but I would love to be able to plan easily 8 to 10 trips a year. And I seem to be able to get like 3 and maybe 4. Nope. And then it's just like I don't have enough time to be able to plan this stuff, make it work, and then figure out on the back end how to monetize my work beforehand to pay. That's the downside of owning your own business. There's no paid time off. That's the downside right there.
It's you're on call. You're literally you're on it. But it's worth it in the end, of course.
Yeah, it totally is. It's one of those things you gotta plan for, and it takes a little bit more to kind of figure it out. Yep. But yeah, it's eventually gonna happen because there's so many different parts of this country that I would love to do exactly that. Like my wife and I, we were just talking about when she retires, she wants to travel and camp all over the place. And she's like, yeah, we should look at getting a travel trailer or something. And then what we would do is we would caravan it, she would drive, she wants to get like an RV, and I'm like, all right, that's perfect. So you travel with that. I'll take my truck with the boat and then go wherever. And then, that sounds good. We'll meet at whatever place and, we'll just caravan and make that shit happen. So that's something that we're toying on, but who knows when that's going to be, because we're still, in terms of retirement, we're still young. You know what I mean? Oddly enough. Yeah, and she's a little younger than I am. So it's going to be a little while, but it's going to happen. It's just got to take a little bit of time. It's funny. You mentioned Riverwise, and Riverwise has been in my wheelhouse now. Geez, I want to say since about I'll bet you it was like spring of 2021. Whenever it was that Dark Horse Tackle under the previous ownership, they were a Dark Horse brand back then, and then I think there was something recently that they had put in one of their boxes as well, like in the last year or so. And they're like out there. One of the items that they make that is super like unique, that soft plastic frog, the Ned frog. Dude.
I actually got it. I can go grab it right now and show everyone if they really wanted to.
I'm don't worry about that. I like that little sucker is.
That's the frog I'm talking about. Yeah. On the flip it jig.
Yep. Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. And it's just got like the way it's got the feet on it are just perpendicular. Like I've seen similar frogs used as like buzzbait trailers, and those back legs kick like crazy.
I'm telling you, there's no company like Riverwise. I'm just telling you.
I love that they do shit that's like stuff like that. That's innovation, Like you got to make a paddle tail, you got to make a stick bait, you got to make a craw, but it's like and how many times can you change this stuff up when you're thinking about stuff like that? That I think goes a long way. So that's pretty cool, man. That's pretty badass.
Yeah. I was going to say, I get asked all the time, where the hell do you get kind of baits of this? I like, a sponsor. Duh. So I get them my business card and everything. So,
in terms of like the YouTube process, what's your least favorite part? Like, what's the thing that you struggle with the most in terms of YouTube?
So when it comes to YouTube, it's not really the editing part. It's just making the content. For me, I'm so picky. Right now, you can't be picky when you're small, it seems like. Or you can. You can be picky. Yeah. It's just a slow process. So like right now, how I am doing it is, all right. So this whole season, I know I haven't like technically posted in a year since my last ice season, right? And I'm literally so picky when it comes to like footage. But like for example, like this whole year, or last year, you get what I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
I was focusing on filming my hunt. I'm so like for me, I'm filming my whitetail first hunt, my first ever hunt. Because right now, I kid you not, if you post anything about hunting whitetail in Iowa, your video will blow up and you're off the market.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because my buddy literally one of the guys I know, they posted and they said it changed their lives completely. Just one video. So I was so picky of trying to make a story. Every like when the hunting comes, it's like making the story of that like target buck or something.
Yep.
And this year it sucked. I had all the footage and everything. I just didn't get the buck on camera.
Yeah.
For one, it takes a lot. It takes a lot, right? But when it comes to fishing, ice fishing especially, it just seems like anything I post about ice fishing, it gets more views for some reason. It makes sense. Yeah. It's not for everyone, it's not. So it's just making the content and I'm not saying it's like hard for me to make and go film. I can go film a tree if I really want to.
Yeah.
And just make it really nice. And I guarantee you'll blow up. But I'm just like so picky in my head, which is a good thing, right? You don't want crappy footage that will run you like 10 minutes of the same raw footage, unless if it's something serious going on, like I don't even know. Someone's getting attacked by a fish or something. I don't know. Something like that, But I'm just like so picky when it comes to footage. I just don't. But right now, like I said, when you're so small, try and grow in YouTube, it's like you gotta push numbers to get up there, it seems like. Or just play your numbers right, like advertisement and stuff like that. Then maybe, just maybe you'll start growing. Like right now I'm struggling with trying to get my name out there.
Sure.
That's only it's so hard when you're like a small town angler and no one knows you. Yeah. It's so hard to get your name out there. But as soon as you get your name out there more, like in the tournaments or either just fishing more and all that, you're slowly will grow. But where I'm struggling the most is just literally I'm so picky when it comes to footage. That's the only thing.
It is tough because it's like I know exactly what you're talking about. Like a lot of people, I hear it all the time from folks that are in the YouTube game. They're just like, oh, I'd love to do on YouTube, but
the editing, oh my God, like it's the worst.
Like, and a lot of people get hung up on the editing, the process of doing that. And I think that to me, and there are other creators out there that I've spoken with about this. Like that's a fun process. Like that's the most creative stuff. But you're right.
That's like the best part.
Yeah, like because you're taking what you've got and you're crafting. You're actually actively making something. And like I've had videos before that I'm like, I am so proud of this, man. This came out so good. The video I did with Sean the fisherman when we went to Cape Cod and we fished the entire day. We fished like 4 or 5 different ponds and we had an absolute blast. And this was like before I started, it was actually the first time I actually started doing like horizontal. And all I was using was a GoPro in 2 different positions. Like I'd take it off my hat and I'd put it on. I called it at that time Bobby Crotch Cam because it was sitting on top of my pedal drive. It was the worst angle. And I still apologize to all the subscribers. And then the other thing I would use is my phone for everything else, and it worked great. And this video was so good. And you release it and it's like, it does okay. Like nothing's amazing. Then you just go and you really like it's nuts. I feel like a lot of people that get hung up on the editing process. I think the editing process, if you look at it in that way, as like it being creative and fun, and try and use every single one that you do to learn like something else or like apply like a new technique or experiment a little bit with something. But you're right. You got to have the footage to create something that's great. You know what I mean? And having a single camera is so difficult.
Now, like when you're either recording on your phone, It's so easy. It's really easy. Like phones nowadays is crazy. But like like you said, when it comes to the editing part, that's your mind creating what you want to show that people, right? You want to show like that story of that video or something. Yeah, it really do suck when you're making all the effort of filming right now when you're young, or like not whatever you want to call it nowadays, when you're like so small.
When you're a new channel, you're small.
When you're so new, it's so hard.
Yeah.
And I just wish there's a way, like, for example, like TikTok or something like that. You can literally grow so quick within like a month.
Yeah.
Like you can have like thousands. For YouTube, you have to put the trenches. You got to work through those trenches to make it up there. It seems like, unless you, even if you pay promote your videos, there's that little chance of someone will subscribe, right? But if you're getting views, that's where it's kind of a problem, because you got to hit that 1,000 mark. You know what I mean? If you're so small and you're getting huge views, they're not going to really pay attention on your views right away because you're small. Yeah. They're going to pay attention to your subscriber part. They're going to pay attention to how long of duration they'll watch that video and actually replay that, or it's just different nowadays. But I guarantee, like, if we did this way before TikTok and like Instagram shorts and all that, I guarantee, like, we would all be seeing probably good. You know, it's just nowadays. Now you gotta compete with, like I said, TikTok, and then you gotta compete with Instagram Shorts. Now, I found out YouTube's doing the Shorts, and like I said, I posted not too long. I posted 2 videos, and they got like 6,000 instant. I'm like, what the hell? I wish that can happen with my video. Well, it will. Exactly. With the long just takes stuff. Time. It takes time when you're video editing. Yeah. Okay. You're like, when you're doing those shorts, you're on your phone. It's so different when you have a monitor right here. You have your computer here in a different screen, right? It's so different. You let your mind literally dialed in, and you're just creating whatever your mind wants to do, right? So like I said, it's all about homework, really. Yeah. It's all about how you want to do it, you know?
Yeah, it's true. And, you know, the thing is like, as a smaller creator, you know, with a small following, that is the perfect time to experiment, you know, to try to do things to increase your skill set, or, you know, whatever it might be, or increase the quality overall of your videos, and provide the viewer with a little bit more. Right. It's always a challenge. And like, anytime you know, if you're creating content, you're always battling with your own insecurities of like, is this any good? Does anybody actually care? You know, and then it can be a challenge, you know, and that's why like the comments section for YouTube is amazing. Cause I'll be honest, like that most of the time, that is what keeps me going. You know, when I drop a video, and it's been a little while, I haven't put a video on YouTube in a minute. It's been quite a while. I have some stuff I actually have to get caught up on with YouTube, but those comments push me to keep going and making like more and more stuff. And it's just freaking awesome, man. So let's get right into it. Because we've been going for almost an hour and 15 minutes right now. Let's go ahead and get a couple of stories from you to wrap things up. What I'm looking for from you are 2 primary stories. The one that's like the moment when you're on the water that you're most proud of, like that sort of, you know, the story you're going to share with somebody that you're first meeting for the first time and they find out that you fish. And then the other story I'm looking for is the biggest kind of where it all went to shit, and that very well might have been the hooks in the hands. So if you want to trump card that one and say, yeah, it's the hooks in the hands, but
no.
All right. Oh, we have another one. Okay, that's good. That's good. Actually, it's that one that everybody has multiples of.
I got quite a few bad ones. Well, not really quite a few. It's just like I said, all you could really do is laugh about it. But
for sure.
We can start with a good. We can start with bad. It's up to you.
Let's start with the good one.
So, all right. So the good one, I'll probably say, I wasn't really on the water. Like I said, I'm more like a bank fishing guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like most of the time, if you like tap in my live, you're always seeing me on the bank recording or something.
Sure. Oh yeah.
And last year was probably one of my best moments ever. And it was probably 3 weeks after I caught my other PB through the ice last year. And it was cold water. That water's at least like 20, maybe 25, maybe, it's just so cold and nipping. Like, unless you're into that, go ahead, just go in the water. Find out, I guess. But, and I'm fishing this little area, a pond, where I caught that bass, because the bass I caught through the ice was literally 6 pounds and 5 ounces. And
okay. All right. Not bad.
It was a good one. Too bad I wasn't in a tournament. I probably would went up there for sure. And I was fishing that pocket. I'm like, this ain't cutting it. I just bought these 6 cents, like Mr. Creepy Crawly, I call them. Like the brown. It's like brown and bright orange color. I just stopped by Shields. I bought them. I'm like, you know what? I know these might be good for the upcoming tournament.
Yeah.
So like the first Jigs Bigs tournament, when it was coming up, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna test this corner. Tournaments in like 4 weeks. It's nice to do your homework, especially when it's different climate in Iowa and everything. So I'm fishing this corner. And literally the third cast, I hooked in a giant. I mean, a giant. It's on live. It's on video.
Yep.
If someone says it's not true, go to my live, and I will tell you it's right there. And I hooked up to the giant. He literally beat my other PB. This is 2 back-to-back PBs I broke. Same pond, same area.
That's awesome.
This one was 6 pounds, 12 ounces. So I beat it by.
Oh, no shit. Okay.
Not too far. And I was just screaming. I was bouncing around like a monkey, laughing and just excited. I'm like, no way I just do this. Because like I said, around here, it's not well common for anyone to catch big, giant basses like monos, like especially if you're into that sport, So that was probably one of my best moments, I would say, especially literally like ice season. Like when I dropped that was a big bass too, through the tip up. It wasn't the same bass though, and because how I knew it was the one through the ice I caught. She was a female. Okay. It was a female bass. And that one I caught like 3 weeks after was a male. Oh, and like, okay, this is cool. This is pretty cool for a male being that big.
Oh yeah.
Like for me, I'm used to catching like 2 3 pounders.
Yeah. Oh
and this is a huge step. So I'm like, you know what? I'm hyped up. I knew beginning of my year is going to be good, and I was right. After I caught those bass, the whole season, like I said, I caught. I can't remember how long that muskie I caught, but I caught a 38-inch muskie. Then the end of the year, not too long ago, I caught literally a 39, back to back.
Okay,
which
all right.
I knew that year was going to be good.
Just fine.
I knew that year was going to be good, man.
Yeah.
So that I'd say 2024 was
pretty solid.
Wide opening. It was open time, especially for like the Jigs Bigs. But 2025, I'm coming, baby. I'm coming. I'm ready.
Good, man. Good. Now, what about the epic fail? What about that?
Oh man, that sounds like my GoPro going down the water.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I was fishing. I was recording the slot bass tournament for the first one that we all got our asses kicked by a 12-year-old.
Oh,
like big props.
Brody, yeah, dude.
Like Brody whooped that kid whooped my ass. That's all I can say. I'm so proud of that kid, and especially the father for sure. And I'm like, so I'm fishing the pond. I have a GoPro right here. It's on the stick mount. My first ever using a stick mount on my kayak. And then I have my chest mount, and then I had my phone recording as well by my my Garmin. So my phone mount, I'm using little plastic metal thing from Painted Arrow for like hunting purposes, but I use it for fishing too, which works awesome. It's one of those mounts, and I just have it hooked up on my Garmin like mount right there, and I'm recording myself, and I hooked in a fish, right?
Yep.
I literally hooked the fish so hard, all I seen is ploop. Like the fish is gone.
What?
My GoPro,
oh no!
I set the hook. I'm like, I set the hook. It hit the GoPro and fell down in the water, and the fish is gone. I have a video like this body of pond. Yeah. I had such a bad luck. I swear, Bobby. I don't understand. Good thing I have an underwater camera. I could possibly get it. I know it's charged. I know where it's at, right? Like that same bottle of water is literally, I lost probably my other Shimano rod there too. Wait. So it's kind of not too far away.
That was during the slot limit tournament? You lost a rod then too?
Yeah, it was my SLX.
Dude, I lost an SLX during that tournament.
Dude, what's the odds of that, you know?
That's an epic fail for everybody. That was the worst. I lost my SLX and my moving bait rod when I was netting the biggest fish Paul caught that day. I think it wasn't his new PB. No, it definitely wasn't his new PB. But I was netting his fish. It was an absolute giant, and rod goes overboard. And I was like, "You son of a!" That was the worst day for me. The worst.
I cried.
Yeah, that's brutal,
I'm not gonna lie,
dude. Oh god, that sucks.
And it was literally the worst part about it. It was 3:30 my time. I still have maybe 30 minutes till the tournament ends. So over, I had to move on. I had to keep going and fish hard because I was like the rank. I was in 7th place at the time. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get top 3.
Yeah,
I know where these fishes are hitting. I am going to cry myself when I get home to bed because I lost my GoPro. I'm not going 40 feet down there to get it right now. Goodbye.
Yeah.
I'll buy another one.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I said, GoPros nowadays are kind of a little cheap. I'm not gonna lie. They're kind of a little cheap, especially if it was only the it was like only GoPro Hero 5. So it was cheap.
Yeah, that's no big deal. Yeah.
I cry though.
But still, I mean, you're down a camera, so now you're like, well, now I got to figure out how to make this work with one less perspective when I'm doing my video. So yeah, that's a challenge. Wow, Brody strikes again.
But keep in mind though that GoPro had that GoPro had the pole mount attached to that GoPro.
So and
like
whole
I
thing.
Seen it,
oh my god!
Yeah.
No,
I thought it was locked. in. It was locked in, but I apparently not anymore.
Not well
so
enough.
I'm like, okay.
Damn. That is brutal, man.
Okay. I literally watched it go down. And I'm like, do I jump in or what? You know, I mean, what can you do?
At that point, there's nothing you can do. And yeah, dude, that sucks. That is awful, man. That is brutal. Well, Hunter, this was absolutely fantastic, brother. This was great. Thank you for being part of the show. I appreciate you. Do yourself a favor. Let everybody know where they can find you and follow along or hit you up with any kind of questions or anything like that. This is your opportunity. Go ahead, promote yourself.
So if anyone is out there that is learning about maybe like where I'm at. I'm in Iowa, Minnesota area, not too far. If there's anyone like out there want to like create like content with me, I actually had a good idea. I was about to ask, but I'll ask that after this. So I wanted pretty much say you guys can find me on Instagram at HB Tricky. It's like underscore, then HB Tricky, then underscore. You can find me there.
Yep.
You can find me on YouTube as well. I do believe by me pushing myself more and more and getting out there locally and all that, I guarantee like I can actually grow from this. So all I gotta say is just keep pushing your dreams and just never stop fishing, you know?
Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. You got to keep at it, man. Well, this is absolutely fantastic, dude. I appreciate you being part of the show. We're eventually going to make our way out to Iowa because there's a lot of reasons out there. Like there's so many little pockets of the country, like Iowa, Minnesota specifically. Like I want to fish that area big time, but I want to sink some time into it. So I'd like to get a couple of weeks and just kind of hit that area hard, fish with listeners, maybe even connect with a guide to get like a little bit of experience, and do some damage potentially. So we'll see what happens, man. But yeah, that would be absolutely amazing. So we'll put that on the calendar as something that we're going to be planning for sure. And we'll go ahead and we'll make it happen. But this was absolutely fantastic, dude. I appreciate you being part of the show, and we'll keep in touch. All right.
Awesome. Thank you, Bobby. I really appreciate everything you guys are doing.
Awesome, dude. You're the greatest, dude. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
All righty, guys. Bobby Roast Beef, Jigs and Bigs. We got Who the Fuck is Joe Brown in the house with us. And that was Hunter Cummins in the beef seat. Cummins, like the diesel. You know what I'm saying? That's got to be a lot to live up to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a lot to live up to, man. You know,
I rock the Cummins.
You do.
I rock the Cummins.
You got a Cummins diesel. Yeah, absolutely. That's a lot right there. We had a great conversation, he and I, and there was something that we talked about after I hit after I shut the recorder off, and Hunter gave me this awesome idea, and I'm not going to divulge the full scope of it just yet, but what I do want to tell you guys is that it does involve smaller content creators. So we're talking about folks that have like on YouTube under 1,000 subscribers. Like that. And so what I want you, a little call to action for our listeners, if there is a fishy content content creator that you follow that falls in that category of like just under about 1,000 followers or subscribers, or even if they're on another platform and you think it's worth having them be involved with this, do me a favor, get in touch with Jigs and Bigs and send a link to me, so I can check it out, because this could be a whole lot of fun. I have Hunter came up with a really, really great idea, and I think this would be a whole lot of fun. So, with that said, I think that about wraps up our show for this week.
I think so.
It was exciting. That conversation with about Dobyn's and GSM was very interesting. I don't know that. Yeah. Yeah, again, like, I know that there was a lot of knee-jerk reaction when that post went up, and I know that a lot of people like got their feelings hurt. But like, if there's one little bit of advice I can throw out there, it's don't let a brand hurt your feelings. You know what I mean?
Oh gosh,
it's a brand. Like, it's not worth getting that upset over. You know what I'm saying?
I agree. I agree.
There's so much more in this world that you should get upset over, and when a lot of us just don't. Like, if your favorite soft plastic disappears, your favorite rod, trust me, look around, you'll find something. Or maybe that's the motivation you need to start looking into custom stuff. Then you negate that whole problem.
Small business,
baby. The virtuous cycle, right there. That's the virtuous cycle.
That's right.
Let's go ahead. We'll wrap this sucker up, guys. It has been a fantastic show. Appreciate you guys. Definitely, as always, this is a rough time of year for everybody, especially for you Southern listeners that are out there catching them. Even if it's slow, please tag Jigs and Bigs in your social media posts. If you're out there catching them, we want to know. We want to live vicariously through you guys. And I'm really looking forward to this trip down to Jersey, hoping that we can put some fish in the boat. But if we don't, we're going to have ourselves one hell of a time. That actually, now that I think about it, Joe, that is going to be an interesting one as far as recording for the show. We'll have to figure. We might have to do the way we did last time and record remote. I think that worked pretty well.
Yeah. We'll make it work.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. I think it'll be all good, but it's pretty good. John Hagan says the snow is about to bury him there. That's no good. That's what I'm hoping to avoid too.
Yeah.
Really hoping to avoid snow. Hope you guys have a great one. Take care. And remember, we have a brand new closing song this week. It's going to play right at the end of this. You're not going to want to miss it. We'll see you guys for more Jigs and Bigs in a week. You know, like we always say.
Tits and ass.
Jigs and Bigs, the podcast of our dreams, with laughter and knowledge bursting at the seams. Each episode brings something new and bold. The stories they tell, worth their weight in gold. We tune in every week, we just can't get enough. Because Jigs and Bigs, they always bring the good stuff. Their words inspire and ignite a flame. We're proud to say, Jigs and Bigs and rule the game. Jigs and Bigs, the greatest podcast ever. They're clever, they're hilarious, they're oh so clever. With pictures that's unmatched and insights to savor. Jigs and Bigs, they'll be your favorite forever. Tales of their own. Jigs and Bigs, they truly grow. They make us laugh, they make us think. Their chemistry is strong, their friendship in sync. We're hooked on every word, we're hanging on their every line. Because Jigs and Bigs, they're simply one of a kind. With Jigs and Bigs, we stand tall. They've got our hearts, they've got it all. Jigs and Bigs, the greatest podcast ever. They're clever, they're hilarious, they're oh so clever. With pictures that's unmatched and insights to savor. Jigs and Bigs, they'll be our favorite forever. Jigs and Bigs, their greatest podcast ever. They're clever, they're hilarious, they're oh so clever. With banter that's unmatched and insights to savor. Jigs and Bigs, they'll be our favorite forever. Jigs and Bigs, the greatest podcast ever. They're clever, they're hilarious, they're oh so clever. With banter that's unmatched and insights to savor. Jigs and Bigs, they'll be our favorite forever. Jigs and Bigs, the greatest podcast of our dreams, with laughter and knowledge bursting at the seams. Each episode brings something new and bold. The stories they tell, worth their weight in gold. With Jigs and Bigs, the greatest podcast ever. They're clever, they're hilarious, they're oh so clever. With banter that's unmatched and insights to savor. Jigs and Bigs, they'll be our favorite.